Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to episode 37 of the Former Action Guys podcast. I'm your host, Justin Kramer, and today I have my buddies on, Joel Flores and Andrew Dimauro. Joel's a police officer in Colorado, and Andrew is a machinist in Connecticut, but prior to that, both of them were radio operators in the Marine Corps. Both worked for me as a chief at some point during our times at First ANGLICO as well. If you want to hear more about their backgrounds, make sure to check out episode 7 for Andrew's story and episode 25 for Joel's. Make sure Make sure to subscribe to our new Former Action Guys YouTube channel if you are listening to this. If you're already subscribed and you're watching it right now, hey, thanks for the subscription. Make sure you give a like and leave comments on your favorite episodes. I had a guy today, I think I answered a question. He left a question under Cameron Langland's episode about recon. So that's what I like. Give some feedback, ask questions if you need clarification about something, and I'll ask the person if they can come on and leave a response. So I have a put out for Cameron, but right now he's at the southern tip of South America. But yeah, anyway. So yeah, on YouTube, I've even started to add the top hits from previous episodes, so you can listen to some of the best stories over and over again. And finally, make sure to check out my website, jkramergraphics.com, and my Instagram page at jkramergraphics. That's jkramergraphics.com and at jkramergraphics on Instagram. And you can also email any questions you have to formeractionguyspodcast@gmail.com. And that's it. Enjoy the show.
I'm such a fucking shitbag.
Dude, you got the blur my background on too? That's sick, huh? Pretty cool.
It's got some, secret squirrel painting on the wall. He doesn't want anybody to see.
Yeah, I saw the Paris Island pennant. Don't hide that.
You like that?
Cool.
So it's not in the first video that I did. I had it sitting over because I moved in November. Then I went home for a month. Almost a month, and then I came back, and I haven't, almost everything's put up, but that was sitting over on my kitchen table, and I wasn't really sure where to put it, and I'm just like, I don't know, so I figured it'd look cool right there.
That's a cool
video
planning props.
My dad gave that to me. That thing is old. That thing is like, I don't know how old it is. It's got to be from the 60s. Yeah, or I might have bought it on eBay. So I went through a period where I was buying all this shit off eBay, like memorabilia, because I was like, not like a bunch of stuff, but like stuff I thought that was cool about Paris Island. I was gonna make something with it. I started out getting these postcards. They have these postcards from back in the day, like that you could buy as a recruit to write home, and on one side of it is a cartoon, and it's like hold on, let me grab one.
Oh, Jesus.
All right, let me show this to you. So it's called Paris. It's called Paris Island Boots, and it has like each one has like a little cartoon on the the backside with like a little illustration, and then it's like they can write home. Anyway, so I came across some of these. I don't know how, and I started looking them up, and I'm like, oh, these are super cool. Then I found some on eBay, and I started buying them, thinking I can make some kind of like collage or something of them, not realizing there are a shit ton of them, and I just haven't bought any in a while. So I might have bought that pennant, but I think my dad gave it to me. But yeah, that's what that stuff is. I got a couple things up there. Anyway, welcome to the show, guys. So I assume there are people that are just starting to check out the podcast now that it's on YouTube, now that there's video. If people haven't already listened to the podcast before, you guys were already both featured. I think, Andrew, you were what, episode 4?
7.
Episode 7. And what were you, Flores? Joel?
I have no idea.
No. You were 25. You were episode 25. So if they don't know anything about you, they can go back and listen to those to get like a bigger picture background on you. But each of you give me like a couple minutes. We'll start with Joel of like your background in the military and what you do now. Just to, so for the people that aren't going to go back and listen to a full episode.
All right. Well, I was a 0621 field radio operator from 2008 to 2015. My first enlistment, I was with CLB 22 Comp Platoon, attached to the 22nd MU for a couple deployments. And then after that, I got sent to First ANGLICO over in Camp Pendleton, California, which is where I met Dimauro and yourself. And I was there from 2012 until 2015 when I got out. Did a couple deployments with First ANGLICO as well.
And then what year did you get out? It was 2015.
September 2015.
And then what do you do now?
So now I am a police officer for Arvada Police Department over here in Colorado. I am still in field training right now. So I just graduated the academy in December. I'm in phase 3 of FTO right now, so I still have roughly a month to go. Then I'll be on my own. So
really?
making progress slowly but surely. Yeah.
I thought you were already done with that for some reason.
No, not yet, man. It's like 15 weeks long or something like that.
Yeah. All right, Andrew, go.
Yeah, I'm Andrew. I was with First ANGLICO from 2010 to 2015. Did 3 pumps with them. I met you guys, pretty cool dudes. No, we did we did the 1 U together, and then Joel, we kind of overlapped in Afghanistan. Yeah, so 3 deployments there, and got out, and now I work in a family business. I'm part owner. I'm currently a machinist. So,
are there different levels of machinist? Are you like a expert machinist or master machinist?
I've heard the term master machinist. I think that's kind of a old school term. I could be wrong. I don't know. We do one specific thing. We do threading. So we grind screw threads and basically anything, but we specialize in aerospace. So it's kind of weird. Like most machining, there's like lathe work, turning and milling and shaping, but we only do one specific thing. But we're a service company, so we repair, broken parts and, just do the one op on a, piece of equipment or part. But it's a pretty high demand. Actually, we're really busy right now because, aerospace and defense is actually pretty huge in Connecticut. We have Pratt & Whitney. They make the jet engines for the F-35. And we have Sikorsky, and they make the CH-53 helicopter. So there's a lot of work here.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I want to get back to the machinist stuff for people that are out of the Marine Corps that might want to have more information about that. But first, I want to start with Joel, and I want to talk about the whole coronavirus thing is going on right now. We got to talk about it, dude. We got to talk about it. And Joel's a police officer, so what are they telling you guys as a police officer? Like, what's the, I don't know, what's like the, hey, this is what could be happening in the future?
I can't tell you, man. Honestly, I'm not allowed to.
Okay. No, that's cool. That's
no, I'm
fair.
Just kidding. I'm totally just kidding.
Oh, I was like, wow, okay.
No, I'm just kidding.
So you have the vaccine.
Basically, yeah, right.
It's a fucking conspiracy.
It's like the anthrax, man. So pretty much what we're told is, a lot of the city is just being cautious, just like everywhere else. So the whole Denver metro area, man, it's just Denver is in the middle, like Denver proper itself. And then you have a huge ring of Denver metro cities that all connect to each other and they all interlap with each other. So it's just one giant metro area. Mm-hmm. And everybody's pretty much doing the same thing. I know today, the mayor of Denver just provided guidance that all bars and restaurants with dine-in facilities are closed. It's takeout and carry-out only, and delivery only. I don't know of any other surrounding areas that are doing that. But as far as just from our standpoint in our city, what they told us is, we're going to be limiting contacts as much as we can with the general public. We're going to be taking phone reports as much as we can. If it's not, if it's not pretty much like a person's crime or something like that, if it's like a theft or, somebody broke into a car, we don't need to actually physically be there. We're going to try to be cautious that way. And then also from just our personal standpoint, they said that pretty much they're going to cover us if we get exposed to it by being quarantined. They're going to take care of us as far as if we don't have enough sick time, they're going to provide sick time to us, things like that. But I mean, it's still business as normal, business as usual. There's nothing from our standpoint that we're doing any different. We're just trying to be more cautious. We have gloves, we have masks. We're letting the fire department and the paramedics kind of take the lead on some of these calls if they're showing symptoms before we actually go in and see if anybody needs police assistance. So,
have you noticed a decrease in like foot traffic around town and stuff like that?
I've noticed a decrease just in the small amount of experience that I've had there already from before this all started till now. There's definitely a decrease in people being out for sure.
Have you had lower crime?
I don't know. Honestly, I I wouldn't be able to say, yeah, everything has gone down. I still go call to call.
Yeah.
I still get assigned things, so I honestly couldn't tell you. But from what I'm being told by a lot of other officers that have been around for quite a while, they're saying they've noticed a difference in foot traffic and the amount of stuff that's getting called out. Pretty much everybody's being holed up in their homes. Nobody is wanting to go out and do anything, and it's kind of resulting in less calls for, crazy people doing weird stuff. Everybody's kind of cooped up in their own homes right now.
Yeah, man. That's out here in San Diego. It's kind of the same thing. Everybody. I went to so Mondays are when I normally go to the store. I already had most of anything that I would need, but I always go and get stuff that I need, and I knew it was going to be crazy. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to go when the store opens this morning. So I was going to the Vons over here at Normal Heights, and like it's supposed to open at 5. I didn't realize that. I thought it opened at 7 or opened at 8. And I got up and I was like, oh shit, it opens at 5. Well, I'll go at 6:30 and go shop. I got there. There's a sign on the door that says, hey, because of the whole thing, they're not opening until 7 o'clock. And then, so I was like, all right. So I get back in my car and I'm waiting. And people are obviously showing up to come to the store. And I'm like, well, it's about 20 minutes before they open. I'm going to go and grab a cart and jump in line. There's already 30 people in line, right? And then and the 15 minutes before the store even opened, I think another 20 people got in line behind me. It's just a ton of people. Everybody was cool though. It wasn't like any like craziness, and I don't know. There was a lot of shit gone. All the basic like cheaper meat and stuff was gone. Like the only thing like I wanted to get some meat, so the only thing that was meat wise that was there were like steaks and shit, which is totally fine. I mean, I guess I'm eating ribeyes for a couple days, but
Dude,
what's going on over here?
That's exactly what I did. Like I went into the grocery store and like I wanted like chicken breast or steak. Like, okay, it's all gone. You just compromise. I was like, oh, I picked up like ground beef. I was like, I can make something out of this. Or, oh, this is something I don't normally eat. I will make something out of this and I will live. And I hear this like dude arguing with his wife. And I'm assuming the conversation went something like they didn't have the kind of milk she wanted. And he's like, you're just going to have to fucking drink whole milk for a while. Deal with it. And I'm like, well yeah. Just compromise for a little while, and you're not going to die. It's okay.
Shut up and eat your Wheaties, Karen.
People are insane, man. People lose their minds when any little thing that happens. It's just like, oh, fuck. Yeah.
And I just say, like, when I don't know what brought this up, but when you said you went to the store, I just pictured the scene in Dumb and Dumber when he's like, all right, I'm going to go to the store. Just go get the essentials. This is the last of our dough. He's got the 2 cases of Coors Light with the cowboy hat on.
There was. I didn't do that, but there was a guy there that was that dude. I was like, nice, brother. He had like 3 cases of Coors Light, actually Coors Original, in his cart, and that's like that. And he had like 1 steak on top just walking through the store.
Alcohol was definitely fully stocked.
I got robbed by a sweet old lady on a motorized cart.
Oh my god.
I tried to go grocery shopping at 2:30 in the morning the other day when I got off from shift. And it was, I went to one of the 24-hour Walmarts, so I figured, like, hey, maybe they're overstocking at night. I can catch somebody putting something up from the pallets or something. Dude, there was nothing. It looked like the fucking apocalypse. It was crazy how ransacked everything was. Everything down from, like, the weirdest items that you can think of that nobody ever fucking buys was completely gone. It was crazy. But I did find some ribeyes.
Can I ask a really naive question? I think I know the answer, but why the toilet paper? Why? Is it? I think I heard because it's like they're scared that when they're in quarantine they're not going to have it. But my theory is like if I ever like no shit get quarantined, I would just call somebody I know and have them drop the shit on the porch.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And you know what else?
It's a psychological thing of.
I swear to God, if I was the manager of the store, I would have seen what was coming, and I would have been like, "You motherfuckers are getting 1 case. Limit 1 case per customer. I don't give a shit."
Yeah. Hey,
I would
real quick.
It was too late.
Let me jump in real quick. Joel or Andrew, is Joel's connection blurry for you?
It fades in and out.
Hey, Joel, is there any way you can disconnect and check your Wi-Fi and call back? Because it's like it's real choppy, and I'll just keep talking to Andrew. I'll keep the recording going.
Really want to do that?
No, that's cool. I mean, his was set up perfectly from the beginning, not like you.
Yeah,
had to wait.
You had to throw that.
So yeah, I don't know, man. People, what blows my mind is one that people aren't already prepared for stuff. You know, that's one thing.
Yeah.
So it's like, dude, what would you have done had an earthquake happen. You know what I'm saying? Like something like that. It's like, how do you not already have these essentials at your house already? California is known for natural disasters. There's fucking fires. There's earthquakes. There's mudslides. There's all this stuff, you know?
Dude,
and
in
people
California,
still don't have the essentials.
Yeah, but you're talking about California where they build houses on the stilts by the Hollywood sign. Have you seen that?
I've gone up to the Hollywood sign, but I haven't.
Dude, it's like we went up there with Rango one time, and it was like the mountain range or whatever. People are going to call me a dumbass, but I'm not from there. There's like these super expensive houses, and they're like on stilts on the side of a mountain. And it's like, bro, like you want to live here that bad, but you're going to risk your whole house collapsing because of the known. It's like you said, it's an earthquake zone, but
yeah. I grew up in I lived in Chattanooga, Tennessee for 12 years probably. And down in the Chattanooga's in the valley between Lookout Mountain and Signal Mountain, and you'd go up onto the mountain and see houses like that are built on the side of the mountain with half the house like hanging over, and it's like, dude, that's ballsy, man. I mean, it looks cool. It makes for a good whatever, but I don't know.
There's no way.
What have you done personally to prep for coronavirus 19?
So I haven't done any like prep. Like I already had like, you know, I buy in bulk. I go to Costco. So I already had like a shitload of toilet paper just cause. And I like I said, I went to the grocery store and I made it work. So I have enough food for like the week. And obviously, you know, like I told you earlier, I have, you know, guns if it comes down to that. But
yeah, I mean, no, but I doubt it would come to that, but it's funny. There's been a massive like increase in gun sales and ammo sales and stuff like that because of this whole thing. It's funny the people that are like, well, you know, the Second Amendment, maybe it's not too bad.
No, you know what I really have been doing.
Welcome back.
Hey,
how's it looking now?
A little better. It's a little better.
We can hear you.
Yeah, I think if it's fucked up, whatever. It's no big deal.
No, honestly, you know what I've really been doing is like, just like, I don't know how to put it, but it's like when people are like, I have no food. It's like, okay, well, do you really have no food? Let's open up the cupboard. Okay, you have soup in here. You have stuff that's pushed in the back of the cupboard. Mm-hmm. It's not ideal, but it's food. I think you can survive off this. You know what I'm saying? Like, you always have shit that it's like in the freezer. It's like, you probably have enough, you know?
Yeah, there was a ton of canned food. All the canned food was gone. Almost all the canned food was gone. But like all the tuna cans and packets were still at the store. And I'm like, fuck that. Yeah, I started like loading, like I'll just grab a couple, you know, packs of these, couple cans.
And we know how to survive off that shit. Like, dude, my dinner on my second deployment would turn into like, I would take a can of Hormel chili, open it up, and this is going to sound gross. I didn't give a shit at this point. I would open it up, not even warm it up, and I would just eat the fucking thing because I didn't care. Yeah. So I'm like, if I could do that, I think I can make it through this.
I just recently bought a microwave, and I've used it once. I've used it one time.
Holy shit.
I mean, I had one when I was on base housing and stuff like that. And then when I got divorced and stuff, I didn't bring the microwave with me. I let her keep it, and I just never got another one. So
how did you get this long without microwaving shit?
I just eat cold shit, man.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah,
I'll give you that one. I can do that.
Farrell gives me crap about it all the time. He's like, dude, it's fucking 2020. You have no microwave. Like, what the hell is wrong with you? You know? And I'm like, I don't know. He's like, you don't have to live like that anymore, bro. We're out of the Marine Corps. He's like, you can enjoy the heated food. And I'm like,
but cold pizza's the shit.
Yeah,
cold pizza, disgusting.
Dude, it's good.
What?
It's gross.
Dude,
no, I'd rather have it warm, but you can fucking get down on some cold pizza from the night before.
Cold pizza for breakfast?
No, not for breakfast.
What? What not?
Warm pizza for breakfast.
I mean, I've definitely done it. Don't get me wrong.
I mean, like I said, I was like you. I'll eat soup out of a can. Doesn't bother me.
Yeah,
I'm like, why get a bowl and mess up a bowl? You know,
it's funny you say that.
Waste time heating it up. Like,
I remember a couple of years ago, I sent like a photo, like a text to you one time, and it was like a picture of like a video on my laptop, and you're like, bro, we're not deployed anymore. You don't have to watch shit on your laptop. And I'm like, damn it, he's right.
Yeah. Yeah. Joel, are you doing anything, or have you done anything out of normal to prep for this whole, coronavirus scare?
No, we haven't done anything.
No.
We're just trying to find essential, pretty much. So I have me, my wife, and then our 3 daughters. So just buying normal amounts of the shit that we always buy, it's hard time finding that. You know what I mean? So we'll buy like a 2-pack of 18 eggs each or something. So a 36 pack of eggs. There's none. You know what I mean? We're trying to find just like a regular big pack of Charmin toilet paper that we usually buy like, every month or something, and we can't even find that shit. So it's just trying to find even the normal amounts of stuff is just impossible right now.
Are you having to go to like 3 different stores?
I remember one time Alexis went to like 6 or 7 different stores just looking for stuff, and they were gone completely.
Shit.
It's pretty disgusting, man. It's nuts.
Yeah.
Shows you.
Well, what's really disgusting is the people that buy out like a store of shit and then turn around and try to resell it to people.
So I heard all of those resellers online are kicking ads off like that. They're actually trying to monitor and not let people doing that kind of stuff.
Apparently, there was some guy that bought like 17,000 bottles of hand sanitizer and was trying to resell them. Yeah, and then they were going to investigate him. So he's like, "All right, I'll just donate it all." Like, yeah, douchebag.
You know what pisses me off is all the people buying the cases of water. I'm like, if it comes down to that, drink out of the damn sink.
Oh, dude, I don't understand that. That's such a waste of money
already.
I know. It doesn't bother me, but it's like, come on, dude. Just
That's the other thing.
We have that mindset.
That's the other thing that Farrell gives me shit about. He's like, dude, how the fuck do you drink tap water? And I'm like, why would I do? I'm like, I drank out of a water bowl for how many years? Like, if I could survive that, I could survive the tap water. And he's like, we don't have to do it anymore. Drink the regular water.
I'm an asshole. You said water bowl, and I forgot it was that trailer thing for a minute. I thought you were like a cat or some shit. I'm like, what are you doing? Yeah, dude, the fucking thing. That's it. There was a meme about that. It's like if you drank out of this, you're immune to the coronavirus.
Anytime you fill up your Nalgene bottle or whatever, it was always like, look, don't look into the water. You look down into it, you're like,
put some EO into it, just
all the shit
give it a little bit of weird coloring.
Yeah. No, that's why, like, towards the end, ANGLICO gave out those things. They're called SteriPens, and it's the UV sanitizer. Yeah, well, it's typical ANGLICO. Like, a lot of times, like, they would just give us shit and, like, be like, here, and they wouldn't tell us what it was. So I was, like, getting ready to get out. I was a couple months out, and I was like, oh, I'm going to do all this outdoorsy shit. I'm going to go camping. So I found out what this thing is. It's like a UV light that you dunk in the water and swirl it around for a minute. And fucking Cat Watt was getting out, and he's like, do you want this? I don't even know what it is. And it was one of those things. And the model that ANGLICO gave us was a couple $100. So what I'm getting at is we used to go to ranges and shit. I would get my Nalgene from the water bowl, and I would sanitize it with the SteriPen.
I never saw you use that. I never even heard of the unit having.
I never even heard of that either.
Yes. I will go get it if you don't believe me.
You will not go get it because you turned it into supply
and then gave it to you.
Oh, fuck that! I didn't turn shit in. No, for real though. I was one of those dudes who signed for everything. I didn't get to keep shit. Motherfuckers, dudes were leaving with like 30 things. I'm like, fuck you guys.
I just wanted my pack and my helmet and stuff. That's it, and I didn't get to keep any of it.
I don't know if he ended up getting to keep it, but I remember for like the last year, CSUN was like talking about his ruck, and I'm like, you're not keeping it. Just fucking deal with it, I don't know.
Those weren't bad rucks. So
I have one.
You got there. You got to ANGLICO. Dimauro got to ANGLICO first, right? And then Flores showed up. Were you guys on the same team?
No. Same brigade. What roles did you have, Joel? Who were you with when you got there?
So I showed up. I just got back from the Libya deployment when we were sitting off the coast of Libya. I got back in, I want to say February from that. Mm-hmm. And then I PCS'd in June. And then I deployed again, but with ANGLICO this time to Afghanistan in November of 2012. So I got there June 2012 or July 2012. And then I left in November. I was with Fix 6, Salt Chuck.
And you were out at Nole, right? Over in Sangin?
Oh, yeah, for a little bit of time, yeah.
Yeah. Where else were you at?
We were all over. We were one of the general assignment fix out of Leatherneck. So we would get attached to basically whoever needed a team, and we would roll with them if it was in RC Southwest, West, or South. So we've been through all 3 RCs, and we would just conduct operations for whoever, whether it was just escorting logistics convoys, if it was attaching to Army route clearance engineers, basically anything that came down the line. And then for a bit of time, we did go up to Nole also, and we attached to, I believe it was the advisors from 2-2-215.
Yeah.
They were up there. There was a second ANGLICO captain on their advisor team up there, and we were just kind of hanging out with them for a little bit of time. And
who was the
captain?
Do you remember his name?
His last name was Barefoot.
Captain Barefoot. I know. I went to TCP school with him.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
He
was actually, they were the brigade advisors. So they were or the corps advisors, whatever it was. They were the 2-2-15. And we were the battalion. Yeah, so they were brigade advisors up there. That's why they're up at Nole. We used to go up to Nole and steal food from them because we were like starving down where we were at. So we would go up there, and as soon as we'd get there, the team leader or whoever would go into their meeting, and the dudes that rolled up there would fucking attack the chow hall basically and go in there and just grab bags of coffee and get in the freezer and like try to steal a bunch of shit. And one time we were doing it, and the first sergeant comes out, and he's like, "Hey," he's like, "all you guys got to do is ask for food. You don't have to fucking steal food every time you come here." And we're like, "Oh, good to go for sergeant." And as
it's not as fun now.
Well, as we were saying that, one of our buddies walking up with like an armful of food that he had just taken. We were like, "Oh, my bad."
Yeah, you lost the thrill of the chase.
Yeah,
well, it was cool because of being out of Leatherneck. We pretty much we were out for, I want to say 2 to 3 weeks at a time, and then we'd come back to Leatherneck for a couple of days, switch out with the other FICT. They would go out, and then we would come back. So we would rotate as being the QRF out of Leatherneck as well with 2-7. So yeah, we got to go. You know, we did a little bit of time in Sangin, Goresh, Shergazi, Shikvani. We've been to like a Red V, Delaram, Orange, Shindad. We went through Herat a couple times. IQ over there on like the Iranian border. Kandahar, we got to go see Kandahar. That was pretty cool.
Kandahar, the only time I ever saw Kandahar is we flew in to drop off some Air Force nerds, got out of the plane, and I got to see the Hindu Kush Mountains, off in the background. I got a picture of me standing there somewhere. And then we got back on the plane. We didn't even get to go like off the flight line. So everyone talks about Kandahar, like how awesome it is, and the boardwalk and all that shit. Yeah. The TGI Fridays that they had.
Crazy as hell. We got salsa night. The first thing we did, we were out for a couple weeks at that time, and it was me, Severson, Rango, and then Captain Wells. We get there and we're in our frogs, and a little homeless at the time, and rolling up. Everybody's looking at us like, "What the fuck are these weirdos doing here right now?"
It is always weird when you're in frogs on a base like that. Everyone's like, "What are you doing, bro? You are not supposed to be walking around here like that." I'm like, "Fuck you." Yeah,
man. we got the stink eye a little bit.
Yeah,
these nerds actually carrying their rifles.
Were you guys on that deployment together?
So we overlapped. They left a couple months before us, and then we got in country about halfway through their deployment.
Okay, and was that your first or second time to Afghanistan for that one, Andrew?
Second.
Okay, so that was the one where you were out with the Georgian liaison team, correct?
Yeah, I didn't know Joel or Rango that well, but I knew their dude Severson, Jack Severson. I was really good friends with him. So every now and then I would like talk to him on like the Sipper phone and just like bullshit with him. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean I had like no contact with Chuck until we collapsed back to Leatherneck, and then we kind of saw some of their dudes. I know like the guys who were based out of there. That's when we ran into them. But
now, when you guys showed up to ANGLICO, what was the sense of the reputation of like the unit, like when you showed up, like when you got there? Because there a lot of those dudes, especially if you met, I don't know if you did, but the earlier OIF guys that had done a lot of stuff working with like special operations units, different teams. I think there's a photo in the Eagle's Nest of the guys with like a SEAL team. And I know multiple times I know worked with guys. SEAL teams and ODAs and stuff like that. My team got to work with a SEAL team after I had left at some point. But when you showed up, what was kind of like the feeling when you got to the unit, like, oh shit, like these guys are been doing shit, or you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I think there were two different feelings between me and Dimauro, because we were separated by like 2 or 3 years of showing up. So he probably ran into a lot of those guys more so than I did. All the guys that I knew when I first got there were the guys that were on the company deployment.
Okay.
So just seeing all of them and hearing all the stories of how the entire company went, how everybody was divvied out, and how some people's missions were pretty bullshit and cake, and how some others were, pretty legit. Yeah. So that was the feeling that I got there. I was just trying to fill everybody out. Who are the people who I actually wanted to learn the job from, as far as cross training in the fire stuff and the JTACery.
Yeah. And you came from when you showed up, were you a corporal or a sergeant?
I was a sergeant.
So you came from the fleet already, which is, again, a different experience than Andrew, because that's where he showed up straight from the schoolhouse. So had you heard of ANGLICO before you were heading there?
So I remember I told you on the previous episode. It was actually one of my junior Marines, one of my junior radio operators that told me about ANGLICO. I didn't know anything about it. He told me that out of the comm schoolhouse, they were talking about being at ANGLICO and stuff, or going to ANGLICO. So he's the one that actually told me about it. I didn't know anything about it. I had to actually research a little bit and figured it'd be a cool gig. Turned out to be. I feel pretty fortunate though going there. I got put straight on a FIC, and from what I understand, that's not very common. Usually you check in, you go to that 6 for a bit of time, and then they put you out onto assault or onto a FIC, depending on your rank and your experience level and your personality and how you're going to jive with people, if anybody even likes you, stuff like that. So I went straight to a FIC right away, and they're like, by the way, you're leaving in November to Afghanistan. I was like, all right, cool.
That's kind of like what happened when I showed up too. Hey, by the way, we're going on the Muse. So
yeah. Well,
it's
our team, when I first got there, we were all sergeants. Except Severson, he got busted down, but he picked up.
Yeah, he did.
So Severson was a corporal. He was our team lead. Captain Wells was lieutenant at the time. I think he was like barely a first lieutenant at the time or something.
I knew him as a lieutenant.
Is he still in?
Yeah, same here. Yeah, he's still in.
He went to EWS after ANGLICO, and then I don't know what he did.
Yeah.
I talked to him a couple months ago.
Now, Andrew, you showed up and you went straight to a FIC, obviously.
I was in Alpha, the Salt.
Yeah, well, but you were you were at the headquarters. That's right, because you did the deployment with the headquarters section, right? And then you came back, and then you went to then you did the Georgian deployment. Yeah,
I was with Salt Alpha, and we broke off. We had our 2 FICs out, and then our headquarters from Brigade was at Tombstone, which is a base attached to Leatherneck.
Yeah. I never went over to Tombstone. I was only on Leatherneck a couple times, though.
It's cool. It's like you're on Leatherneck, but it's kind of like an annex. They had a chow hall, but it was like you still had to go through a gate to get onto Leatherneck proper. But it was like they were still kind of in their own world over there.
Okay,
it was pretty cool. But it still is Leatherneck, I guess. But yeah.
So what was it like when you guys met? When you guys started working together?
I think what it was like. I have a lot of friends who I can go up to them and go, I don't remember ever going, hi, my name's Andrew. You just kind of start working with someone, and then eventually it's like, look, I know your name, you know my name, and it just kind of flows from there. But we just started training together because I got told that I was staying with 2nd Brigade and Delta. So I don't know. We just started working together, and it just flowed from there.
You guys were on Delta together first?
Yeah.
No. So I came back from Afghanistan, and I want to say maybe a month afterwards, they started putting people where they were going to be. So they started divvying up the teams. They pretty much disbanded Chuck. I think there was only a few people who stayed on Chuck. I think Rango was one of them that stayed on Chuck, and there was a few others.
Right.
And then I ended up, they put us all in different positions. So they said, Flores, you're going to Delta, but you're going to the headquarters as the assault comm chief. So I was a little bummed about that.
Yeah.
I wanted to just stay on a team, you know what I mean? But that's pretty much how it was. Dimauro ended up staying, Cison stayed, Sanchez stayed, and Soto stayed. And then everybody else pretty much, and then Captain Watt stayed as well. Everybody else was new. So either new from outside in the fleet coming into ANGLICO, or just moving around the teams, and I was one of the ones that just got shuffled from Chuck to Delta and then just put in the headquarters. So at that point, we kind of just got rostered up. We checked in, everybody moved around, and then it was like, okay, well, this is your team now, so
yeah,
go do good things.
And then a few months later, I showed up, and became the team chief. So for those that haven't
it
listened to the other
was
one,
more than a few teams.
We did a lot of work. We did
you?
a lot of work with Staff Sergeant Real before you came. It felt like you were there, like, because we went right to the Mew. I felt like our work was with Staff Sergeant Real, and then you showed up, and then it was like Mew.
You guys actually checked into the Mew like 2 weeks before I got there, or like maybe it was the week prior, or something like that. And I showed up on that Friday, and then checked out of the ANGLICO, and then checked into the Mew that Monday, and then we started doing our workup and stuff. But yeah, so for those that haven't listened to the other ones, I was the Salt Delta team chief in 2014 is when I showed up. And then Joel was my comm chief, the Salt comm chief, and then Andrew was a fixed comm chief that I had. And then us three did the Mew workup together, which was obviously amazing. And then
so good.
And then we did our ship time together. Joel and I were on the Macon Island, and then Andrew, you were on the San Diego, right?
Yeah, stay classy, San Diego.
The fucking whale's vagina.
Oh my god.
Cruising through the sea.
I mean, I can't complain at all because our ship was like new, and we didn't have half the bullshit you guys did. But yeah,
I actually went on that ship for when I went back to the Mew to be the Mew fires chief. I had to spend 2 weeks on that for what's that exercise with the Japanese? I forget.
Iron Fist.
Iron Fist. Yeah, I got iron fisted. I got put on that ship for 2 weeks, and I'm like, man, this thing is super nice. There's like a little fan you can kick on with your feet, so you got air flowing through it, and like you can sit up.
Coffin rack.
Yeah, you could sit up in the rack. I'm like, man, these guys are fucking spoiled. But the gym on it sucked. The gym on it's like the size of a small living room. And
dude, I didn't go to the gym that much on the San Diego. I would go up onto the top deck. And we had like a bunch of equipment there, and I would work out there. And honestly, I had nothing else to do, so I was pretty big into I was getting into CrossFit, so I would go down to the well deck and just like haze myself. But that's all I needed because I was like, fuck the gym. There's all these cocksuckers in there. I don't want to deal with you. I'm just gonna do body weight pull up stuff, and that was good enough for me.
Did you have anybody that bring like free weights and stuff onto the ship? Because there's usually like on the Macon Island, there was like a CrossFit class out in the hangar bay. They would pull out all the weights and like bumper plates and all that stuff.
We had a bunch of them on the very top deck, so they were there, and I used them. It was good.
What class?
Like I said,
what class is the San Diego?
San Antonio class.
Okay. I was gonna say it, but I was gonna let Joel have his thing because I know you know this.
It's
an
LPD.
Yeah.
LPD 22.
Well, so what's an LPD? Do you guys know what an LPD normally does? Just drive Marines around.
Yeah, pretty much.
I mean, because on the San Diego we had for the big picture we had tanks and LAR. That was our key. That was our two big heavy hitters.
How many people do you think were on the ship?
Oh yeah.
No.
Dude, honestly, I have no idea. But we had I don't think we had any like straight like line infantry companies. I think it was tanks and LAR were like the infantry dudes we had.
Yeah, and that obviously, for those listening, that changes between different deployments. Every Mew commander has their decision of where they want to place their troops and stuff like that. Joel and I were on the LHD 8. I actually saw it the other day. I was going over the Coronado Bridge with one of my buddies. I was on that fucking ship, like, motherfucker.
Those poor bastards.
Yeah. So we were on the Macon Island. The LHD, if you've never seen one, is like a small aircraft carrier. It facilitates the flight of the Harrier, which can take off on a shorter little runway, and then it floats down for the landing. So, and our ship had over 1,000 people on it.
Oh yeah.
I mean, maybe. Do you think it was close to 2,000?
No.
With the Navy? Well, there's really not that many Navy people.
I don't know. Honestly, I don't know, but it was way overcrowded and shit sucked there.
Isn't it weird, like, halfway through the deployment, you see people and you're like, I have never seen you before. Like, how have I gone this whole time? You got some Navy dude come out from, like, the belt, the bottom of the ship. Fucking been down there, whatever they're doing down there, shoveling
looks like
coal
powder because he's never seen sunlight in 7 months.
Dude, some people do not make a point to go outside. They do not go out there. Like, I get it. You have to remind yourself. I've definitely gone days where I'm like, oh, fuck, I haven't been outside in a couple days. But there are some people who don't care and just don't see the sunlight. And I think that really affects you. I think mentally that shit fucks you up.
Definitely.
We had there was people who like wouldn't eat. Like I remember the corpsman for tanks. He was one of those like you see this in Pendleton all the time. Like the nasty fucks who don't go to the chow hall. They just live off PX food.
Yeah.
He was one of they were like he never goes and gets food. He just lives off the ship store stuff. Like you're fucking gross, dude.
I tried to minimize the ship store,
Yeah.
usage. Like every once in a while, like when you're really starving, like when you're getting, go down there and get one of those, what are that, like complete cookies? What are those things called? Those really good ass fucking like healthy cookies.
Len and Larry's cookies.
Yeah, those are fucking good.
We didn't get those.
I would go get those or like an energy drink if they had Monsters.
Dude, I would get Rippets for old time's sake.
Rippets, fuck yeah.
I like Rippets. I mean, I don't drink energy drinks anymore, but I would get them on the San Diego just for old time's sake.
What are you drinking right now?
I'm drinking an energy drink right now. Quake. It's a new one. It was like $2 for $3, so I got it.
What the hell is that? 0 calorie soda? It's just like an energy drink.
It must be good for you because Joe Rogan drinks it and it's got stevia in it.
There's no sugar and stuff in that.
Doesn't Joe Rogan do like shrooms and shit?
He does, yeah.
Oh, those aren't good for you.
They're not? They're legal now in Colorado.
Negative.
No?
I gotta tell you, man.
I thought they were making it.
They're not legal. They're not legal in Colorado. They're just decriminalized in Denver only.
So what does that mean? So if you pulled over, found somebody with some, then you would arrest them?
Well, I work in Arvada, so yeah.
Fuck, that sucks.
Yeah. So that's a Denver only thing, man. Denver.
I'm not going to ask you your opinion on it because I don't want to get you in trouble with your force. Tell us about how's the police training? So last time you were on here, you'd only been on the street.
Tell us about the door
for like a week. How has the training been, and how do you think that police academy prepped you for what you've gone through so far?
Oh man, so I used to work for Denver Sheriff, so I mean the academy itself was more discipline oriented and more just like a haze fest than anything. So with the academy that I went through for this department, it was at a community college. So it was more academic based than it was discipline oriented. So I was very thankful for that, especially going through it at 30 years old.
Yeah.
Like, dude, I'm not about that shit anymore.
Dude,
I'm not going to go outside.
Tired of proving myself by doing push-ups.
Exactly.
You already know the games. You're like, I know what you're doing.
Yeah. I'm not worried about it. So, I mean, there was times when people tried yelling and stuff, but it wasn't anything serious. So I was very grateful that it was heavily academic based because I feel like you need to learn the law as opposed to just do a lot of push-ups.
Yeah.
So the academy itself was very mixed, man. I was pretty thankful. A lot of my department had a hand in being able to assist with the training in the academy and had more of a say-so. Mm-hmm. They're kind of partnering up with them and saying like, hey, we'll provide some resources, some officers for some classes and stuff like that. And in return, you will put some of our recruits through and give us some any seats and stuff like that. So it was a partnership that they're trying to develop. So I was able to get a lot of classes from people who are actively doing the job still, who are doing it every day, still on shifts, still on patrol. It's relevant information. And then I received classes from dudes who retired in like the 80s and 90s. So there's a way of doing things that they taught us, and then there's a way of doing things that we were taught by people who are still in the role. So I would say it's probably about a 50-50 how I was prepped for the academy. I feel like I was ready academically, but tactics-wise and stuff like that, it's a little bit different. So it was a little bit of a learning curve coming from Marine Corps tactics to police tactics because you're not kicking indoors. Well, not all the time. You're not doing all of that. You're not doing that. You're not doing that. You know what I mean? You're not going in and you're not clearing rooms like that. That's mainly like a SWAT thing, and they even do it differently. You're not just entering a room, running the wall. You're not doing any of that shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's very slow. It's a lot slower paced. But training's going good. I mean, I feel like I'm learning a lot. I'm being exposed to a lot of different calls for service, a lot of different crimes and stuff like that. I'm just trying to learn the process, man. I'm not so much hyped on like, yeah, I got to arrest somebody today. It's awesome. I'm more so just like, man, I hope I get this type of call so I can learn the process of how to file all the paperwork and get the case ready to go and file it on. So when I'm on my own, I know how to do it, and it's not the first time I'm encountering it. When I'm on my own, I have somebody there to kind of guide me who knows what they're doing. Yeah. So that's what I'm looking forward to more so.
Yeah, you can't get on the radio and go, hey, who knows how to fill out the TPS report on this one?
TPS report. The TPS report.
What's the most common call you've had so far?
Slaughter drunk people. Unwanted parties.
Yeah?
So it's called unwanted party. So it's just for some reason or another, somebody is not wanted at the location they're at anymore, both private and public places. So like in a public place, like the other day we went to go talk to some bum that was over at Taco Bell. He was just drunk, passed out in front of the door. So we had to we had to deal with that.
Man,
Yeah.
is the homeless popping pretty bad there?
From what I understand, yeah, and I'm starting to see it a little bit. It's flooding out from Denver into over where I work at. It's pretty bad. There's a church that's in the center of the city that kind of caters to the homeless population, and they say they're doing it out of like good faith and good heart and stuff like that, but they're just like enabling all the shit they're doing, from what I'm understanding. So they're kind of attracted to that area, and it's a breeding ground for just bad shit to happen.
Yeah, there's a thin line between helping and enabling for sure. Both of you guys live in cold ass places. I would not want to be homeless in either Colorado or Connecticut. There's no way. How has, switching topics here and over to Andrew, how has what have you done since you've gotten out? So you're a gun guy, right? Connecticut has some pretty...
Not so much anymore, but yeah.
Well, okay. I mean, you own some, and you used to shoot a lot. You've obviously stopped since you started working more, and running a company and stuff like that.
It's just expensive.
What are the limitations you see in guns in Connecticut? Because Connecticut, or you want to explain why it's like what the limitations are in Connecticut and why it is like it is?
Dude, honestly, like, this sounds kind of weird, but like my brother asked me this question a while ago, and it's like I really don't even know anymore, because I remember like I have an AR. I bought it in like 2005, and that was like in between, from what I understand. There was like a ban in like the late 80s, early 90s, and that was ending. Mm-hmm. And then shortly thereafter, they implemented another one. Well, I got an AR right in that little nook, and then it was like 2013 or 14. I came home on leave, and we had to fill out paperwork registering ours because it was being grandfathered in under like a new ban. And then I remember like 2 years ago, then they had the thing where it was like you couldn't have adjustable stocks and you couldn't have high capacity magazines, so you couldn't like trick out your rifle. So I go to like Bass Pro Shops, and they're selling the stocks and all that shit. And I asked the guy, I was like, how come we're allowed to buy this now? And he's like, well, I guess they assume that if you have one, it's pre-ban and it's registered. So do what you got to do to them. Just don't make them auto. And I'm like, it's so weird. I know. So honestly, I really don't know I know you have to have a concealed carry permit to basically do anything now. Buy ammo. Like you to go to a store and buy ammo, you have to have your permit. You go to a store, they go permit or badge, and you give it to them, and it's crazy.
Just hold up the fucking Constitution. Like, I'm good.
California, you have to do a background check to get ammo now, and they say it can take up to 30 days to do the background check.
I think that's why they ask for your permit, because to get the permit, you have to have been screened and checked. So if you have your permit, they assume that you're cleared already and you're good. I guess. I mean, some gun nerds probably yell at the. I don't give a shit. But honestly, dude, I like shooting. I really do. I haven't shot a gun in probably 2 years because it's just expensive. But yeah. I'm not like I heard Justin, you talking about with I think Michael Hanthorne about like dudes who nerd out on like ballistics and shit like that. Every time I go to the damn range, there's always some old timer. Part of it is like a social thing, but some old timers like, oh, I see you got because I have an M1 Garand. He's like, oh, I see you got a Garand. What you ought to do is try this and switch this out. And I'm like, I just want to shoot, dude. I just want to shoot. Please go away. And I don't want to join.
Just anti-social, man.
But I'm like, yeah. I'm not into joining the gun club and all that shit. And good on you, but I don't want to nerd out about ballistics and shit.
Some guys really get into it. Honestly,
they do. Yeah, it's cool, but it's not me.
I get it. I feel like if I went and shot more, it's definitely something that I would nerd out on and definitely get into. Because, I mean, if Kale wanted to get into like long range shooting competitions, I definitely have him, in on it. For those that don't know, my kid. Like if he wanted to do that, and I think it'd be super. But I'd have to go back and learn because I don't have really any experience shooting with scopes. I'm not a scope rifle guy. We had the ACOG, that was it. But
yeah, but there wasn't a lot of. But that's the thing. Like I would probably get back into it. I'm not like anti-gun. I like shooting, but it's just you gotta remember, like for me, I was in 6 years, and it's the same for you guys in your time. You're around guns almost every single day. Yeah, it's like. And like,
well, it depends on your job at ANGLICO and
true.
Units like where you're going to the field a lot. Yes, like infantry units and stuff like that. If you're like a supply person, no. Like when I was a mechanic, no. I didn't even have a rifle issued to me until I went to the rifle range. Then you come back and you give it back to them, and they take your rifle card. Like it's a temporary thing.
That's true, and you're right. For Anglico, like I remember when we were hosting the Brits for Burmese Chase, like they didn't know our rules. They checked their M16s that we template on them out of the armory, and they wanted to go back into our office. And he was like, "Hey, Sergeant D, are we allowed to bring guns in the building?" I'm like, "Yeah, man, you're good." And that made me think for a minute. I'm like, "Dude, we straight up walk down the hallways of our offices. Like I'll have like a 240 over my shoulder, and it was like a common thing. It was like, oh, hey, what's up, dude? You guys going out today in training?" Because we were just around that shit all the time.
Grab those 50 cal barrels for me real quick.
Yeah, no shit. You're just walking around like, all right, put the 50 on the truck. It was. We did it like we touched guns at least once a week.
You don't realize how spoiled you are. I went home one time and we rented an Uzi at there's a gun range in Lafayette, Indiana. We rented an Uzi, and my brother-in-law and like two other buddies all shot it. They were like, "Woo!" Like, yeah, and I'm like, "Yeah, it was pretty cool." They're like, "What'd you think?" I'm like, "Yeah, it was all right," And then but they were all like super pumped, and it took me a second to like, oh yeah, they've never got to shoot, and that was their first time ever shooting an automatic weapon. But
dude, my like image of that, like in war movies and stuff, is forever tainted, forever. Because just hear me out for a minute. So I remember you watch a scene in Black Hawk Down, and guys carrying the saw, and somebody will be like, "Damn, that's a badass gun," and in my mind, I'm like, "No, that bitch is heavy as fuck." Oh, he shot it. You know how long that shit's gonna take to clean, and then look at him shooting his rounds off. And then I'll watch like a scene from like the Pacific where they're storming the beach of like Peleliu, and I was like, "This is fucking awesome!" I'm like, man, I feel bad for those fucks. They were probably up at 2 a.m, standing by to stand by. Then they they missed breakfast, and they were getting brief after brief after brief, and then they were standing around again because it's like the background of that shit.
Yeah, anything that happens on ship takes time, and it's just.
Oh my God.
And the thing is whatever you do, whatever like you're getting ready to go do, nobody else on ship cares. So you're like, hey, I got to get chow because I'm getting ready to get on the helicopter and go do a raid. The people in the chow line are like, cool, bro, get in fucking line. Like the line's back there.
Oh my God, yeah. I remember the thing that cares. The thing that Walker was saying. Remember, he was like when the CO was like, how come you guys are like pissed? And he was like, you're giving me 4 hours to hit a target. I got to spend 3 to type up the brief. And I'm like, that is so true. Like, I would have like 20 minutes or less to like, put my gear together, because before that I'm like, hey, S6, what are the spins? And they're just like, well, we don't know. I remember we landed on San Clemente for PMIT, and we set up the attack chat on the laptop connected to the 150. So we were doing HF digital instant messaging back to the ship. Captain Lloyd was like typing in our position, like Anglico landed, and this is what we're doing. And the response from the watcher was like, okay, I'll pass it on to someone. I'm like, sir, he doesn't know what you're talking about. I'm not saying he's doing anything wrong, but I'm saying the dude you're talking to doesn't give a shit.
Yeah.
He's just some
Mew people.
Yeah, like nobody fucking. Hey,
well, I remember we were trying to get in touch with them on comms when we were doing one of the ops, and we weren't able to get them out on the ship. So I'm like, I know this shit is right. I'm not programming the shit wrong. I know I'm setting it up right. Why the fuck aren't these idiots answering? So I call the ALFOC. I'm asking him, I was like, are you getting our radio checks? Like, nobody's fucking responding. They're like, oh, that's you? You guys are Wild Eagle? Well, we're just not responding because we don't know who it is. Like, you guys are the fucking command element. You need to be responding to anything and everything. Doesn't fucking matter if you don't know who it is.
No, it was on
idiots.
It was on dedicated SATCOM. It's like, who else would it be?
It was on HF. It was on HF.
Oh, I thought we might have had a different one that did that, because I came in and I'm like, hey, have you heard from my guys yet? And they're like, no, there's just this Wild Eagle coming over.
It probably happened on multiple instances then.
Yeah, I'm like, those are our dudes. What are you fucking talking about? Yeah.
Well, they thought our call sign was Salt for a while. I remember that.
Yeah.
And another thing that pisses me off, like I remember on the second Mew, remember when like I think it was like the Sergeant Major was like chewing you out for Hitchens' tattoo, and you're like, he's not even my Marine. He's like, aren't you Anglico? It's like, I'm your fucking fire chief. He's like, oh, it's like, you don't even know who I am.
Yeah. It's like that sometimes, man. Like they don't. It's everybody's too busy checking their own boxes to make themselves look okay, to actually look, to like step back and go, hey, hold on, what's going on here right now? Like, what is actually happening? I don't know. Fucking Mew. The thing is too, is the Mew had good radio operators. They had some good radio operators there. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, their command people, the people in charge, were holding them back or just not giving them all the information.
Dude,
on some counts.
okay, well, we were in Saudi Arabia and we were working with mortars, and I remember, like, I think it was Joel and Garcia, like, had to storm over to the mortar pit and unfuck their shit, and the lieutenant was like, "That'll never happen again. I'm sorry." And then when I worked with weapons company, like, I had to unfuck all of their comm. I'm like, ugh.
It was weird. It's weird. When I was with 3.6, they made it seem like that the radio operators they get normally aren't like really great. Like they're okay. And at the company level, it's still pretty junior guys holding the key billets.
Yes.
You know, it's like corporals and stuff being like comm chiefs for the company and shit like that. I had when I attached to 3.6 with my liaison team from 210. My radio operators that I sent down, only one of them actually got to go do any real work. The other ones got put on being comm chiefs for the companies and like running their radio shifts and stuff like that, rather than going out on patrols and stuff.
Yeah, like ones will usually hold the supervisory positions to make sure everybody's shit squared away, and they'll just give it to some O3 to actually push the handset and talk.
Yeah,
I feel like comm is pushed a lot harder if you're working with an IDF agency like artillery or ANGLICO or something like that, because you know you're always talking at a distance, you know, so you're getting used to all these like comm issues. And I remember tree topping fucking OE antennas out in North Carolina to try to like, you know, get stuff set up there. You're not supposed to do that. By the way.
A side distant line
well,
of
a lot of
sight
times. Well, a lot of times you get guys who are like scared to think outside the box, like, you know, like you said, like tree topping it. Like somebody would be like, "Oh, the OE poles don't go that high." It's like, why don't we just put it in the tree? It's like, can we do that? It's like, motherfucker, let's make it work. I don't care how we do it. You know, it's like some guys are just scared to make moves. Like I remember one time, like we were hooking up the radio in the Humvee at Anglico, and the cable to hook it in the back, it snapped, and they're like, "Oh, the radio's down." I'm like, "Wait, hold on." So I just traced it through the frame of the Humvee, and I just yanked the whole cord out, and I'm like, "Dude, I have a ton of this shit in my locker in the office." So I just fished it through because it was the same cable.
Yeah.
I'm like, there's nothing special. And even one of the techs came out and was like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "I'm fixing this shit." And he goes, "That's pretty cool that someone's actually doing that." I'm like, "Yeah, no shit."
Yeah, it's not fucking hard, dude. That's how we did in Afghanistan. We set up our whole truck. We wired our whole MRAP up. Me and Sierra did.
Well, because the problem is people are like, "Oh, it's broken. I don't know what to do." It's like, okay, let's think about this.
Well, it's different when it's your truck, and that's the key difference.
Sure.
Is because you guys had your team truck. You know, like, hey, here's my fixed truck. Even at Anglico, it wasn't like organizational trucks where it's like, hey, go grab a Humvee out of the lot. You know, like that is your truck all the time. So I think that ownership of it made you care about it more, because you're like, dude, I'm going to be living out of this fucking Humvee, or I'm going to be living out of this MRAP, or I'm going to be living out of this pack. You know, it's like your shit. So you're taking care of your shit.
That was the best. I loved doing that when it was like, all right, this is going to be your little thing. Customize it. And I was like, shit. But I agree with you. They'd be like, go check out a inverter.
Yeah, we had Motor T mount a flat screen TV mount in the front of our MRAP for our A driver, which was always Captain Wells, so that way we could hook up the video scout and he'd see what the aircraft we were looking at when I was back there programming it, whatever band we were on. Yeah, whether there's a KU band or whatever band we were on, and whoever we were working with, like Harvest Hawk or whoever it was.
What kind
he
of
was able to see what they were seeing, and it was a 4x.
4x? I like the Matt V better.
Until you get blown up.
No, I don't.
I like it better.
There's zero room, man.
No, well, everyone hates on it because it's cramped, but I like the fact that the radios were next to you when you're the A driver. That was just my thing. I liked, because I would A drive a lot and be the vehicle commander. I like having, because by the time our deployment ended, we had two 152s and I had a VRC 103, so I had a 117 on an amplifier. So I had three, but I liked that they were right next to me.
Were they not in the 4x?
No, they were in the back door.
They're behind you.
Oh, okay. I thought that was just a 6x.
So you had a 110 mount. And they were so two 152s amplified mounted in the back there. And then we had our video scout across from that, and we had our whole little setup. So I usually always rode in the back, just as the radio operator. Then we had our little talk nets on. Mm-hmm. So I would be hooked up to like ground commander on one, and then monitoring the aircraft on the other. And then we would have like Captain Wells monitoring the aircraft. And then, Jack and Rango usually switched out between driving or turret. And then sometimes I would be up in the turret as well. But that's usually how we had our setup. So,
hey, real quick for the people that are watching or listening to this, I'm going to I already have a glossary made that I've been putting on every show, so you can check the information, the show notes for that. If I miss any, feel free to shoot me a message and I'll add them to the glossary. But I'll try to make sure that all the acronyms and stuff that we're talking about is in the show notes. But I mean, I think MRAP we've already covered. It's like a mine resistant, ambush proof. Basically, it's an armored vehicle that get blown up. Mat V is like the sportier version of that. However, Mat V's, man, those don't take I think every casualty that we had to actually medevac in when I deployed with 3.6, they were all in Mat V's. Except for one.
The armor's not as good. I mean,
no way. Except for one, we had a 6x, which is for those. That's the MRAP with 6 wheels rather than 4 wheels. So we had a 6x hit I think it was a 100-pound HME IED, and it flipped it up, dude, on its end, almost completely flipped it over, and it threw the gunner out like 30 feet. Like it was a civil affairs team that we had, and. One of the dudes, I think the gunner guy that got thrown like 30 feet, he was in the hospital for like a month or two, but he came back. Like he was back out there. And I remember being in the smoke pit with him one night, and he's like, I can't get this explosion out of my head, man. And I'm like, okay, like, oh shit. Like I don't know what to say to this. Like, man, maybe you should go back to medical, dude.
That's why I was pretty religious about wearing the harness, because I didn't want to get ejected.
Yeah, he got thrown out, and they thought he was dead at first. I'm like, fuck.
Because we were like, I don't know why, but like originally we were like, oh, fuck the harness, and we by the midway point, my team leader was like, you're wearing the harness, and you damn sure are gonna wear your iPro, because actually one of our Georgian Humvees, I saw it with my own eyes. They took a claymore to the side, and it peppered the guy's face. But if he wasn't wearing his iPro, he would have lost both of his eyes.
Oh, yeah. You see, like, the whole peppering mark right here.
Oh,
It's clear right by his eyes.
They angled it up so it was going to kill the gunner. I saw it on PGSS. It was like, boom. And then you just see it smack the side of the Humvee. Yeah, that
Camino,
was
I think for the first couple months, we wore the harness. But after a while, we just started hooking in with kind of like a cowtail type setup.
I mean, as long as you're tethered.
Seatbelt.
Yeah,
we were just tethered through the back there.
Yeah, that's what they went to. I think the people that didn't want to wear harnesses, that was because of the like first iteration of the harnesses. Like that's old, probably like Iraq. Like, oh, the harness will fucking, you'll get trapped and burned to death. That was like that's what people always thought. But I don't know.
It's always a risk. You don't know. I mean, something.
Camino, he got when he hit his IED. He talks about in episode 1. He said his eyes got saved by wearing iPro. He's got scars. He's got scars on his arm and stuff like that, and on his eyes, where like right next to his eyes, where the fucking shrapnel hit him. It's fucking crazy. Yeah. Fuck. He did 3 deployments of singing though. That's fucking like, dude. With some shitty luck, right? Pull that card 3 times. 3 times the singing.
Dude, you know what I always thought about? Like, what if there was like a Marine who like hit the timeline perfectly, like a dude who like. Was in Marja and then was like, all right, I'm going to transfer to 3.5. And then they go to Sangin, and then they, go to this unit and they go to Kajaki. It's like somebody who just like followed.
Just hit all the fishes.
Who just followed. Yeah, who followed. Like I was in OIF 1. Like, I'm going to stay with 3.1. And then they did Phantom Fury. Like somebody who just happened to catch all the battles. I'm sure there's people like that.
That'd be shitty luck, man. That'd be shitty luck. You'd be an awesome warfighter, but what do you do when the war's over? Like, what do you do now? Like, right now, the war's over, right? Supposedly?
I don't know. Yeah.
Like that man in the world.
That's the bad part is you got to be able to walk away from that. You got to be able to walk away from like, okay, I did that. Now I got to do something else. But a lot of people, I think that's a lot of people's problems. They don't walk away from it.
That guy, Levi Slife, was talking about Sergeant Acevedo, Sergeant Ace. He's like, what are you going to do with your patrol today, Sergeant? He's like, I'm going to go fucking kill people. Like that, I'm sure he was a hell of a gunfighter, but like, I'm not, that's, I don't know. He's probably successful as fuck in the world with that go-getter attitude, but man, that's,
it's the, there's not, I mean, I guess there's nothing wrong with it. You're
it's
all
awesome.
About your job and stuff like that, but it's just, those are the dudes you worry about when they get out. You're like,
I know, but you never know.
Yeah. Those are probably the guys you'll more likely see at like VFWs and stuff as well, or just not talk to anybody. Do
you guys do that? Like I had a dude who was in like the Connecticut National Guard, and been in 11 years, but he's never deployed or anything. He keeps trying to get me to go, and I'm like, dude, I don't like. And I'm just like, I don't. The guys I would talk about stuff like this with is like you guys.
Yeah.
But I don't want to sit there and talk to like, call me an asshole, but I don't want to talk to old timers about it. Not yet. I just don't.
Well, you don't want to wear your OEF hat to the VFW there?
Fuck that.
Got ribbons on the side of it.
Oh,
the ribbons on it.
Metal's hanging off.
Campaign.
Yeah, right. Oh my god.
Well, I think it was Tim Kennedy on one of his interviews that said, when I was at the bar, I remember somebody asking me, why did you join the military? And he said, I joined the military because I didn't want to be the only guy at the bar that didn't have war stories. I was like, well, why did you get out of the military? It's like, because I didn't want to be the guy at the bar that only had war stories.
That's a good way to put it. Oh wow, I like that. That's cool. That's true too. Like you gotta, I don't
even tell people.
I've only been to the VFW 2 times. I think I went once. My mom did my my welcome home from my first Afghan deployment at the VFW.
Yeah, you became like a life member.
No, they give you a free year membership. So they gave me like a free year membership, and it was cool. Like I sat there was a couple old dudes. It's Indiana, and I don't know if every VFW does it. I know they're kind of famous for it, but they all smoke indoors, while they're drinking and stuff. And I'm just, I guess I was used to it when I lived in Indiana. My whole family smokes. I don't smoke, not cigarettes at least.
Cigars.
Yeah. My whole family smokes and stuff like that. And if you go to some bars in Indiana, like you go in and they still allow you to smoke. And I just don't like that fucking smell. But the old guy stories are cool. I mean, you talk to them, they're usually pretty cool people, but it's one of those things like, I don't know. It's just a like-minded group of individuals, kind of. I think a lot of guys get to OEF vets, or excuse me, GWAT vets. It looks like an organization for old people. It's like, why would I fucking join the VFW? It's a bunch of old dudes that sit around and smoke and tell war stories. And it'd be cool if people got into it and changed it, that it was like focused on stuff that younger people want to do. They do car shows, I think, sometimes and stuff like that. But I've thought about it just because it's a good networking opportunity. Like it's a good professional, it's a professional organization, and it's definitely a good networking opportunity. I've also thought about joining the Marine Corps League, again, for the networking and stuff like that. And it obviously would help with the podcast. I could have, a bigger pool of people that might want to come on. But no, I haven't put a lot of time into it. So... But a Legion, your buddy was probably trying to get you to come to the Legion, because if he's never deployed, he can't be a member of the VFW, I don't think. Unless they've changed their rules.
I don't even know. Yeah. He got like super butthurt that I didn't want to. I'm like, I don't know, it's just, I guess, like I was telling you about, like we were talking the other week about like the veteran discount thing. It's like, I don't even ask for it. I don't even tell people I was in, it's like, most of the time it's other people saying it about me. It's just like, I don't know, man. I'm just trying to live my own life and, be happy.
Yeah. Be a machinist, making screws.
Yeah.
Doing that thing all day. How can somebody get into a business like that? Like, what kind of training does somebody need to get into to become a machinist?
Well, my career path is a little different because I was strictly OJT. Like, I got out of the Marines, and then 4 days later I went to work full time. So I just started from square one. But there's trade schools you can go to for that, and it's all, our stuff is very old school. A lot of our machines are like 70 years old.
Oh, really?
Everything now is CNC, which we don't have any of that. But those things are so expensive. You have to be a really top of the line company. Yeah, but
you're top of the line. Come on now, don't downgrade.
Don't sell yourself short. Come on, man.
What's the name of the company? You want to market yourself? If anybody's looking for good screws.
Yeah, so it's
for your helicopter.
Oh, dude, we work on the rotor shaft for the AH-64 Apache.
That's cool.
I'll have like 3 of them sitting in my fucking shop, and if you fucking breathe on it wrong, they can't use them.
Can you make like head studs and stuff?
We thread all of it.
Yeah.
So the part that we thread is the stem of it, and what they do is they screw this nut on it. It's called the Jesus nut, because if it like breaks, then the crew is pretty much fucked.
Yeah.
So what we do is we put what's called a left-hand thread on it, so it's not lefty-loosey, righty-tighty. It's the opposite.
Yeah.
So as the helicopter blade's spinning, it's tightening on itself. I mean, honestly, some of the shit I work on is like if I'm holding it like here, and here's my workbench, and I let go of it, and it drops on the bench, and it dings it, the whole thing's done.
Have you ever had one fail?
No, but we'll have like Boeing come in once a year and audit us just to like make sure the quality control is there. We have to have like special insurance to cover our ass if they trace it back to us. But you got to think like since it's a food chain, so like Pratt and Whitney will need a part for the F-35 engine. They'll send it out to somebody and they'll shape it and turn it and we'll thread it. So it goes back up to like another little company and it goes back to Pratt. It's probably inspected who knows how many times before it goes on a aircraft. They do something called magnetic particle inspecting where they basically X-ray it and check it for cracks. Yeah, all kinds of shit, man. Like
they do that on BCGs, right?
Yeah, they do it on. Well, yeah, they do. Like if you look on a bulk carrier, it says MPI, magnetic particle inspecting.
I was like BCGs. What, the birth control glasses?
it took me a minute, but I got you. No,
nerd. Bulk carrier group.
Yeah, I know all the aerospace stuff's really cool. Like I'll look on the blueprint and it'll be like something for a fucking helicopter.
Do you guys do any private work or just defense
yeah,
stuff?
We've done everything. We'll get one day. We got a phone call. It was this like shop teacher in Massachusetts. It was like, oh, one of my parts on my lathe for my class broke. Can you fix it? And a lot of times for them, they're panicking because they'll like ding the thread and you can't screw something on it. And what we do is something called picking up the lead on it and just chasing it. Just like regrinding it, and we're like, dude, we do that all the time. We got you.
Did you work there before you joined when you were like a kid?
During the summer, yeah, like cleaning machines and like shoveling up like oil and just all that stuff. Never actually like getting into like because we're using calipers and micrometers and everything we do. My mind thinks in thousandths of an inch, so like 1,000th of an inch. That's how we measure things. Like a human hair is like 4 to 6. So that's the kind of.
You don't use a metric system?
No, we do metric threads. Yes.
Yeah.
We do everything. Whatever.
Oh yeah, I guess there is a different stuff.
So when somebody gives you the term, it was literally you missed it by a cunt hair. There's literally a measurement for that in your world.
Dude, we'll get stuff. It's like
half a cunt.
So below 1,000th of an inch, you're talking like tenths, and it's like if it's like a couple tenths off, like you have to tell them. You can't just like be like, oh, I'm gonna put this in the box and hope they don't see it. Can't do that. No, not when it's flight. Not when it's flight safety.
No, especially that piece. That's an extremely important piece.
It has to be right.
Yeah. Joel, your dad owns his own thing, right? Or what? Did you say he was like a printer? He was like a newspaper guy.
They have their own newspaper. Their Spanish newspaper in the Denver metro area.
Did you do that as a growing up?
I never did anything.
No. Are you a supporter of the paper?
What do you mean supporter?
Well, you could throw it out there if you want. If you want to market your dad's newspaper for the Spanish speakers out there.
Yeah, sure. It's La Prensa de Colorado.
There you go. So you never got involved with that, though?
Nah, man, it's not my thing. Journalism and advertising and all that stuff, it's not my thing at all.
Yeah.
I don't really care for that stuff.
I have something I want to talk about.
What's that?
We kind of skipped over it, but back on Joel's Afghan deployment, can you please tell Justin and the listeners some of the shenanigans and bullshit you had to deal with running convoys with those assholes?
Oh, yeah, because you were with the National Guard, right?
Because please elaborate, because some of these stories are amazing and people need to hear about it.
Oh, which one specifically? There's just so many. Times
what about the one where they didn't know how to use the machine guns?
What unit were you attached to?
I don't know. I have no idea. It was some like hick unit from bumfuck Tennessee. I don't know, man. Honestly, I have no idea.
Tennessee.
So I think one of the units was from Alaska, one of them was from Puerto Rico, and one of them was from like West Virginia or something like that. I don't know.
Were they all National Guard?
All over.
Oh, I thought you were attached to one unit. Sorry.
No, we were attached to a bunch of different ones. These people all swapped out with each other, and we would just get attached to whoever requested a JTAC team.
Who was the worst one?
Definitely I would say it was definitely the hick ones, man. The ones from like West Virginia or wherever the fuck they were from.
Really?
Okay, so they had PFCs who were like 50 fucking years old, These guys, they look like you with your gray beard.
Whoa, hold on.
They look like you with your gray ass beard, dude.
Hold
Shit.
on.
And I saw that when I was at airborne school. I was like, how are you a private? How did they take you? You fucking.
Or what is the one stripe? A PV2, right? It's not even a PFC. It's a PV2.
You know.
This fucker was a PV2, and he was solid salt on his hair, man. Like, I don't understand. So the briefings to begin with these people was just comical. It was this big briefing room that would start up, and we'd get the just usual shit about everything. As soon as we would roll out of the wire, we couldn't get a hold of anybody because they didn't do comm checks right from the get-go. So me and Jack would have to like sprint all the way to the number one truck. So you're talking 30 something trucks in this convoy going from like fucking Leatherneck to Kandahar, let's say. It would take us like 15 fucking hours to get there just from Leatherneck to Kandahar because we would have so many stops along the way. These motherfuckers were driving these big, which I get. Sometimes, going through, like Red Venals places, you have to be careful where you're driving. You're gonna fucking kill people just running over them, going through the road or whatever. But yeah, I don't know, man. Just they would ask us all the time, like, hey, do you guys have your certifications for the 240? Like, what the fuck are you talking about certifications? Yeah, we need your certification paperwork. Apparently, the Army certifies on certain weapon systems, and if you're not certified on that weapon system, you can't be in the turret. So you were fucking one guy over for like 20 hours of convoy in the turret. Like, it was fucking awful. They wouldn't switch out at all because like their lowest guy was the only one certified. So we would just all switch out as we needed to. And, I would go up for, 4 hours or something like that. Rango would go up and then Jack would go up, whatever we needed to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
These fuckers would not at all. So they would, we had one guy, I think he fucking ND'd in the middle of downtown Kandahar. And he was like, oh, we had a malfunction. And we're like, no, the fucking gun is working exactly how it's supposed to work. He pulled the fucking trigger and it went off. That's what happened. It was some staff sergeant that fucking ND'd into somebody's fucking
Hey, baby, he wasn't qualified, man.
He didn't have fucking certification, damn it.
God,
that's fucking bullshit,
Check his
man.
papers.
Like, I hate that. Like you have
and this guy was like, this guy
Marines were like, get on the fucking gun, man. You know how to use it.
Exactly. And that's what we were anticipating. Remember one time, what was the village that was just to the west of Leatherneck? Was it Greshk?
Yeah, that's where those are my stomping grounds.
Yeah, dude, we were driving through Greshk, and all of a sudden we hear over the radio. So we have a mix section on station. So we're going through. We're trying to clear people out. Yeah, Cobra Hughes section. And all of a sudden we hear on the radio this hick-ass fucking voice coming over, and it says, I'm hit. So we're like, okay, well, I didn't hear any explosions or anything like that. I mean, it's not a giant fucking where you're not going to be able to not hear the explosion. But we thought this guy might have fucking got IED'd or something like that. You know what I mean? Hit something. So that's all we hear, and then we don't hear anything. It's silent. We're trying to call him up. I'm trying to get a hold of him. The ground commander's trying to get a hold of him. Nobody's fucking able to get a hold of this truck. So we send the mixed section all the way to the back of the fucking convoy where these idiots are at. And then all of a sudden you hear laughing on the radio coming over, and we finally got a hold of them. Nothing even fucking happened. They just decided to scream that over the radio that they got hit. No idea what the fuck was going on with it. Me and Jack, needless to say, at the end during the debrief, ended up just laying into them.
That's so fucked up, man.
Yeah, dude.
Didn't you want to kill their commo? Like, I would literally kill you, or I'd like beat the fuck out of you or something. Like, it was like probably. You did that. It was like some chick. It was like, I literally want to punch you in the face.
Oh, did I tell her that? I probably
did. Could happen.
Because she didn't know.
I don't know.
What's it like in Kandahar? Like, not the base, but the city.
Oh, it's like, okay.
I've never been to any of the big cities.
It's like a regular city, man. You have like multi-story buildings and shit like that.
Like regular.
So, I mean,
regular buildings.
They're not necessarily regular. So it kind of reminded me of Herat. Have you ever been through Herat?
No, I've never been to any of the big
cities. Like the Mecca for them or whatever, or the religious capital for them. Yeah, it's just buildings. It's taller buildings. It's a little bit more infrastructured. Mm-hmm. So you have actually like roads and traffic control, like roundabouts and shit like that. Yeah, there's a lot of cars driving everywhere. The buildings are just your typical like urban area. So it's, pushed up to the street, maybe a little bit back, just more of a desert arid environment.
Did it seem more westernized?
Yeah, I guess you could say that. Just because of the infrastructure, it didn't look mud hutty. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It wasn't just 1,000 years of mud huts plastered.
Dude, I'm used to saying it, bro, and Marja, and they're about the same.
Like mud huts with murder holes. You know what I mean? It wasn't like that. They were actual, building shit like that.
Yeah. Did you ever get to like interact with people in those towns, or like
not
through
really.
the bazaar?
Most of the time we were just pushing through. No, we didn't stop in the bazaar. Fuck that.
No.
We weren't going down no bazaar. I remember a couple times that our arrow, he was working in one of the like the higher echelon places on Leatherneck, where they would just track HVTs and then take them out as soon as they met the rules of engagement criteria.
Oh yeah, all the J
really?
pills.
200 fucking meters away from a compound and all that kind of shit. Whatever it was at the time, they would just track them for a pattern of life for like 2 weeks and then fucking take them out.
Yeah.
But
That's the way
he
it
was
works.
telling us, he's like, yeah, I was tracking your guys' convoy. You guys, and he's on approved either kill or capture list right away on site. He's like, yeah, if you would have walked up to him and fucking shot him in the face with your pistol, you'd have been doing me a favor, because I've been tracking this fucker for 2 weeks, and you like rolled right past him when he was on his motorcycle.
Huh. Yeah.
When you guys were at the bazaar.
People don't
realize.
realize like they just think we're slinging hellfires at dudes down there, and it's like, dude, there's a process. Like some of these dudes aren't. It's not a. There are times when it's under duress, like there's a team that's under fire and you're providing support, but most of the time it's a deliberate strike, and it's a timely process. It's not quick, and it's very like, I don't know how shit like the fucking weddings happen, like blowing up weddings. I don't know how something like that would happen. Just because having been involved in multiple strikes, like the process, it just doesn't seem so.
Something was disconnected at some point in time.
Yeah, but I mean, like, man, dude, I remember tracking guys just fucking forever, man.
Yeah.
Us and our S2 guy just staring at the fucking TV with the, the feed from the Reaper or whatever, the Predator or whatever we had on station, and just tracking a dude for 6 hours. Like, oh, he went under a palm tree. We have to reconfirm that's him just because we couldn't see him for a split second.
Lost sight.
Yeah, it's like, so how does that even happen? I don't know.
So, I don't know. But yeah, going back to what Dimauro said, man, there was just so much bullshit that happened on that deployment with those units. It was I don't even remember it all. Just as it happened, you can't make this shit up. It's just shit you see that I don't know how nobody died from their unit. I am thoroughly surprised and wholeheartedly surprised not a single person from them got fucking killed.
Because you were there.
Crazy.
Yeah, I guess. But yeah, it was fucking nuts, dude.
I never really worked with. I worked with Marine reservists as a mechanic, and they were garbage. And that's just, I mean, no fault to their own, somewhat, to a point, because they're not learning anything 1 weekend of the month, 2 weeks a year. They're not really learning how to do their fucking job.
Justin.
So it's partially their fault, but.
Can we talk about the reservists on San Clemente when it was like you, me, and Soto?
I don't care, man. We were out there.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. No, I remember.
Holy fucking shit. All right. So
here we go.
We go out to San Clemente, and should I say the unit they were with?
Nah, leave it out.
Nah. Yeah, I'll leave it out. They were supposed to be high speed. Supposed to be. So anyway, it was like.
Oh, were these the third Anglico people?
Maybe.
Was it?
Okay.
I don't. Yeah, it was.
Yes, okay, it was.
I think I remember.
I didn't remember. I couldn't remember which one it was, to be honest.
Oh my god! Well, I liked that op because Soto and I got a shitload of work. So we brought 81s with us, and we had what was that New Zealand JTAC's name? Kingy. We brought him out there.
Yeah.
And the SAS. Oh, I don't think the SAS. It was
Kingy. Say his name.
And the other JTAC. I don't remember the SAS guy's name. But anyway. So we had New Zealand JTACs out there, and we had 3rd Anglico, we had our guys, and there was a shitload of air. We had tons of IDF. I mean, we had HE, white phosphorus, red phosphorus. We had everything. So I got a shitload of work calling and just fucking mortaring everything, marking targets. And
which is cool because you don't always get a lot of call for fire at Anglico, which is
especially like smoke screen
thing.
We were doing all kinds of shit. But I remember in the beginning, the 3rd Anglico, like, Big Dick Major was like, yeah, so some of my guys are going to JFO, so like they're priority, and we're like, all right, whatever. And holy shit, dude! Like, I caught this one dude, these two fucking dudes who are supposed to go to JFO. They're taking pictures of each other. I'm like, what are you doing? he goes, you got to take pictures, man, for all the bitches back home. I'm like, get the fuck away from me, dude.
He really said that?
He said that, and I would go back to like some of the Humvees
for all
to
the
get
bitches.
Sick. sick.
Dude, you and I witnessed that. There's this one dude. He thought he was so cool. He had his Peltors on. He had no helmet cover. He had his shamag. He thought it was too cool for school. But I'm like, if you're gonna be that way, man, you better fucking deliver. Like, I'm all about looking cool, but you better know your shit.
I should have told him, like, you guys must have been a part of Salt Chuck. My bad.
Those guys they're my friends. So, but no, watched him take Justin and I watched him take the battery out of the Vector, puts another one in, and he starts lasing targets. And Justin's like, "Hey, you gonna redeck that?" And he's like, "Huh?" And I look at him, I go, "Yeah, bro, you just change the battery. You need to recalculate." And he didn't know what I was talking about. But the point is,
chicken dance, man.
dude. But honestly, dude, their observers didn't do anything. I don't remember them calling in a single thing. And it just pissed me off.
Well, I mean, I won't say that. They weren't horrible. You're making them out to be like the worst dudes ever. Some of their dudes were pretty good. The things I remember that I didn't like about them were that there was a few instances that I remember specifically. One was one of their JTACs calling cleared hot on an LGTR right over the OP. Like the guy was outside of his final. You could tell he was outside of his final attack headings by just looking at him, and he still gave him the cleared hot. And we're like, what the fuck? Like, I got in the bunker. I'm like, fuck that, dude. And we were ground based lasing it too, I think.
As an LGTR, it's gonna fall short.
No, we weren't.
Well,
we weren't.
It could get you. You know.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna fuck around with it, dude. So he did that, and we were all like, dude, that was stupid. And then I had a guy. I remember we were doing call for fire, the field op was ending, the air was leaving, and we still had mortars, and we weren't going to take them back because we were on San Clemente Island, so we were only going to take back dunnage. And it was me, you, and Soto, right? We stayed up and did call for fire for another hour. It started raining. It was me, you, and Soto sitting there in the rain, just doing call for fire. Everybody else started raining and stuff, just left, and it was just us out there doing it. I'm like, what the fuck, man?
We had one radio. Dudes. We had one radio. We were hiding behind like a stack of logs 4 high, and we were just like, "All right, man, here you do," because we were just trying to Winchester the mortars, which was fun because we were just like,
we're shooting a loom or doing I don't know, we're doing all kinds of stuff.
It got to the point where
white phosphorus maybe.
I remember it got to the point where like the FDC guy was like, "Do you want me to just shoot everything?" We're like, "Yeah, just shoot everything." So like it was funny because like we were talking to we knew what we were doing, but I got to like kind of get informal with them. Like I remember the New Zealand JTAC wanted me to call in a SEAD and mark his target, and he was so paranoid about having it ready to, because they don't get a lot of air. They have to fly across the world and link up with us and get air. So this is a big thing for him. He's trying to get his currency. So I call in the mission, and I'm watching the gun dude. He has the illume round or the smoke round like over his shoulder. Finally, Top Smith goes, dude. He's like, Top Smith's like, "Hey D, why don't you tell him to put that fucking round down?" I'm like, "Yeah." So they keep calling me like, "Hey, when's the TOT? When's the TOT?" Finally, I call him. I'm like, "The guy's not gonna go for like 10 minutes. I just wanted you to get the guns laid. You can probably tell your guys to put the shit down real quick."
Yeah.
It was just funny because the dude's standing there ready to fire, and he's holding the shell, and he's like switching shoulders because it's good. I'm like, "You can put that down." My guy's freaking out. I have to get.
Was that the same? I don't think that was the same field op because I don't think they came out when we did a brigade field op.
Was that the one where like the
New Zealand guys I'm talking about came out when we did the brigade field op? I thought
there was 2 different ones. I remember there was.
Remember we had Whiteman out there as the arrow and
yeah.
And
dude, I remember
it was when we got all the new JTACs and me and Top Smith were fucking running all their evals.
That was the one that Rango was talking about where we took it was Rango and myself went with you and all the JTACs and we split OPs. Remember that? It was like the JTACs are going to do their JFO qual, but we're not going to be there.
Yeah.
There was that one. This might have been before that because I remember on this one, I think Major Beal was out there.
And I wasn't there
Major Beal.
I wasn't there when he was there.
Oh, okay. Well, this is worth telling. This is the kind of person Major Beal is. He had to drive the CO down to like the airfield. He flew out and he like saw what was going on, but he had to leave like around lunchtime. So he's gone most of the day, and we're at the Palace, I think, the one with the bunk rooms.
Yeah.
So we're down at the OP, and he's with Commander Z. He was I think he was like a no-glow, I think. Anyway, so the 2 of them take the CO back to the airfield, and I don't see him for hours. And it's like the sun's starting to set, so I go back to the Palace to go take a piss or whatever. Major Beal and Commander Z are on the grill with like 100 beef patties, frying them up, and he's from I think Major Bill's from Tennessee. He's like, "Hey, Dimauro, why don't you go down there and tell everyone dinner is almost ready?" I'm like, "What?" He goes, "Yeah," and he goes, "Oh, and send a runner over to the Mortars. I got enough burgers for them too." I'm like, he dropped like his own money and bought all this meat just for us, and then he took care of the Mortars guys too, which I thought was pretty badass.
That's cool.
Major Bill was such a good dude, man.
That spot in they don't use that at play. That area is condemned now, but that spot on San Clemente Island is awesome.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they don't sleep in there. They all sleep at the fucking hotel over on Main Side when they come out there for the train. Actually, the 0861 course is going to stop going out there. They're going to move that to Naval Gunfire is going to move to Fort Sill. They're all going to do it at Fort Sill now. And I was like, oh, that sucks, man.
Naval guns in Fort Sill.
Because they don't. A lot of times they don't get to actually shoot anyway because the class it has to line up with like ship scheduling and stuff like that. Yeah, they have to be in their area for their requals, and then sometimes the ship will break and shit like that. So only a few people will get to shoot. So they're trying to say it's not worth it. I mean, my class, our entire class got to shoot. I think we had some no glows come out. The Naval Gunfire Liaison officers come out, and they don't normally get to shoot. And we had enough rounds so that even they were allowed to as well. So
nice.
It was cool. Naval Gunfire in San Clemente Island is cool because it fucking skips. If it doesn't explode, it'll sit there. You'll watch it skip like 3 clicks. Like, holy shit. Yeah.
I always wondered that for the 0861 course, like how they time it with the ship, but that makes sense.
Yeah. That's how they try to set it up. I mean, it's just like any other kind of Naval Gunfire shoot and stuff like that. But not a lot of people get to do it, really. Like Naval Gunfire, I think I only remember it happening one time when I was at 10th Marines. We did it more. Obviously, we did it more at ANGLICO than we did over at 10th Marines. But, yeah. I didn't really get to do much call for fire with stuff like that with Naval Gunfire or JTAC work. I did some out at OP. That's not true. OP5, I did a lot of work with JTAC work, but I didn't do any Naval Gunfire call for fire or see it out there. I know they did it a couple times, though.
Dude, I think my number one experience with going out to the hill at ANGLICO was the time that, the MARSOC team canceled Yuma, but they had all the live air, so we swooped in and took it.
I don't know.
It was like, come on, no, that was the time we went to Yuma and they had all the live ordnance. We literally just dropped live.
Oh, I wasn't there for that.
Fucking yeah, you were.
No,
it was like you. It wasn't Ela Bend. It was Yuma, and it was like you, me, and like Morton and Captain Walker. We dropped they had like 1,000-pound bombs. We were just dropping them all day.
No, yeah, I wasn't there for that. I know what you're talking about because they got mad because we were calling it a dump X.
I have a video of the beaten zone from a strafing run you called in.
That was a different one. That was a different exercise. That one I got to do. That one they dropped SIMO GBU-38, so 2 500-pound GPS guided bombs on their first pass as they were going by. It was 2 F-18s, so they dropped 2 500-pound GPS bombs, headed out to the other IP to hold while we had skids come over our right shoulder. Then I brought the skids in, and they were like right in front of us, which was fucking cool.
They shot across us.
Yeah, they were like right here. Like it was safe, obviously, but they were right in front of us. So it was super cool to be that close to them as they were fucking tipping in and shooting as they were coming over that finger. And then when they pulled off, that's when F-18s came back around and did gun on an interval. I was actually going to hit you up about getting that video. I might try to use that comm from that and put it on like I'm thinking about adding intro music and stuff to the podcast. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I mean,
it depends.
Yeah,
just as long as it's not too long.
No, it'd be like 15 seconds at most.
Don't make it corny.
It'd be cool if you had that in like some radio chatter.
That's what I'm talking about. Yeah, the comm chatter.
Yeah, because the video you can hear like I think you were doing a type 1 because you were looking for him, and then you can hear somebody else in the background go, "Oh, visual looks good," and you were like, "Oh, got him, clear top."
Yeah.
Yeah,
that was fun. That was on OP. That was out by the Chocolate Mountains.
Yeah, exactly.
What was the name of that OP?
OP left. Feats.
That bitch. That was a bitch.
Yeah.
To go up, to carry all that shit up. God.
Well, remember what's his name? We had a guy from the Mew who was flying Hueys for us, and we knew him. And he landed the helicopter at the base of the mountain and ran up there to say hi.
Who?
I don't remember his name.
Were those the redheaded ones?
Yeah.
Yeah, like for some reason, right? Like I went down to the truck and I was like, oh, it's gonna get dark, so I just cracked all these chem lights and made a little like breadcrumb trail, and it was like smart move on my part because the dude. I remember he got to the top and he's like, "Man, that fucking mountain's harder than it looks." I'm like, yeah.
Was that when we had to like get all those fucking camels out of the way and shit, and we had to herd them out with the Huey and Cobras?
We're talking about in Arizona. He was the same guy. No, it wasn't him. That wasn't him.
Because he landed it also and came and said, "What's up?" So
yeah, he was always.
Where was that at when we were doing that? The Bedouin camps. Remember? That
was OP-10.
Kuwait?
Yeah, Kuwait.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that was what's his name? He was the Cobra pilot. Fuck. I don't remember.
So I said they were the ginger dudes, man. That's what I remember.
Yeah.
They were Captain Walker's buddies because I remember he used to give him shit about it all the time when they would say how many souls are on board, and he would be like, "No souls on board."
Oh yeah.
He's like, yeah, because I remember they came out and they herded. Yeah, there was a huge herd of fucking camels.
Yeah, fucking
in the
camels
impact area. So
they're
like, hey, we could herd them out for you guys, so we can do this. So we had to get them out of the range area so we could shoot. Yeah. So they brought in the Cobra super low and just slowly pushed them out. And remember, there was one that had its leg tied up and it busted out. It took off, and then you could see like the herder like and somebody was like, that was probably one of the prince's fucking camels, now we're gonna have to deal with that later on.
Right.
But yeah,
it was a good time.
They actually, whoever that was, it wasn't his aircraft, it was the other aircraft, because in the section I remember it, and one of them, whoever it was in the other aircraft, shot out of the fucking safety area, the impact area. I remember that. Remember we had to send them home.
No, I don't remember that.
I remember that one.
Yeah, they one of the dudes shot out of the range where we were having them shoot at, and we had to send them home after that. It was like a kind of a big deal. Fuck. Well, I mean, it was kind of a big deal when it happened. I don't remember. It wasn't the one guy we're talking about though, so I don't want people that do know who we're talking about to get confused. But yeah, it happens,
like,
man.
Some of the shit happens on the OP. Like I remember. We went back to OP Feats, and there was like 2 recon JTACs, and like their air officer was up there. I'm not gonna say his name, but he was like, oh, he was such a nerd. He was like, oh, you guys really gonna shoot the laser? And he wanted us to do like the laser log and all that shit. We're like, bitch, we're firing the fucking laser. All right, get the fuck out of here.
Goddamn laser.
No, and he was like, I'm gonna pretend I didn't see it. Like, fuck you, dude. No, he was like, Where's your LEPs? Where's your laser log? And
I only ever remember the Air Force guys asking where their LEPs were.
Same thing.
I remember that part.
Technically, they're right, but it's like, go fuck yourself, dude. We're shooting this fucker.
Where's your laser eye pro?
Yeah.
No, we're good. Shoot the fucking laser.
Yeah, shoot the goddamn laser. Who cares?
They were saying shit about shooting the laser without laser eye pro without us wearing it. So like, I can't believe you guys are doing that. And then they were giving A-10s targets and no final attack headings while they're doing gun runs, and I'm like, bro, if they come in low, like you didn't even tell them, they don't even know where you're at all. And like, if they fucking, the beaten zone on that 30 is fucking huge if they come in at a low angle. I don't know if you guys saw it out there or not, but
you remember the female A-10 pilot who was marking with Willie Pete, and she was at like 10,000 feet, and she fucking
shacked the target.
She's like, oh, call correction for the mark. We're like, nah, you're good. She's like, no, where is it? We're like, no, you fucking hit it.
Oh yeah, you hit the mark.
You hit the fucking thing.
No,
she was in a steep ass dive, and she like let one go and hit it. I was
she was high as fuck. I couldn't even see her.
Yeah, she's probably hot.
She sounded hot, so she got to be. There used to be when in Afghanistan in 2011. If a female pilot would come over the radio, they get in Merc chat. There's always the fires window or the TCP window or whatever. They get on the Merc chat and they put in Spartacus on yellow or whatever the fucking net was that the female was on. You see everybody's rolling to it, and you'd see dudes be like, all right, get her to say this, like fucking stupid shit that guys do.
Some of the UAV operators were chicks, and I remember that mission we did where we were like helping out that MARSOC team. Yeah. We were just like, I was like sleeping in the back of that V, and I would just hear like, their call sign, and I'm like, oh, this chick sounds really hot.
I knew a guy that was a JTech that worked with the same UAV operator all the time, a female, and ended up like Merc chatting her and stuff like that. And they talked, and I think he ended up hooking up with her, like back in the States.
Dude, some of the guys were. I remember like some of the badass dudes. I won't say call signs, but they were F-18s off the carrier, and we didn't have anything for them, so we just gave them like a ISR mission. We're like, hey, scan here, and the guy was like, so how's it going down there? And then he goes, no shit. He goes, you guys are Anglico? And we're like, yeah, Roger. And he's like, oh, do you? I won't say the name. He's like, do you know such and such? And Captain Lisa and I looked at each other like, yeah, we do. He's an awesome dude. Great. But it was funny. He's like, yeah, he was in our squadron, man. Yeah, fucking
That's
cool.
Yeah, you have conversations with those guys. You have nothing else to do.
Yeah, we had nothing.
Yeah.
It was shit. I guess I can say his name.
He was a Hornet pilot, right? Super Hornet.
It was this guy who was super badass. Lieutenant Commander Carlson. He was a F-18 driver. I liked him, but he was the dude I was telling you about who, like, when I went through ABC, I thought it was badass because, like, an 04 was going through with us. And he was all about it. He's like, hey, I'm new here. Show me what's up.
Yeah.
He was a super cool guy. I went through with Toodles also.
Did you do an ABC, Flores?
No. It wasn't going when I went. I rolled right into workups and I deployed.
Yeah, same.
You guys are fine. Believe me. You're fine.
Yeah, same with me, though.
Oh, thanks for vouching for me.
Oh, yeah.
Appreciate it, man.
Yeah, no, fuck you, man.
No, I mean, it was a good course, but it was like, I don't know.
It's good if you got somebody like a junior Marine coming out of like MOS school for sure, or somebody coming from like a CLB or something like that.
It's good when it's not it's good when it's not half-assed. If you do it right and it's like legit, it's good. You'll get something out of it.
I actually got told later on after our Afghan deployment that a lot of people were unsure about me and putting me on the fix and stuff like that at first because I was coming from CLB. So they didn't really know if I knew what I was doing yet or anything like that. They're like, yeah, man, we were a little bit unsure and we were kind of upset that you got put right on a FIC before being screened. And I was like, well, how did that turn out? They're like, actually, it turned out great. But
they think because you give a fuck, and that's the difference between a lot of guys that suck and a lot of guys that are good is that you actually care about your job. You're like, oh, I don't understand this. I'm going to figure it out. Yeah. I'm going to figure out why I don't understand this. So,
dude, if you're
how professionals work.
If you're aggressive and you like really show that you're like a go-getter, like you can. Like, let's put it this way. Like, by the time I was getting out, I could fucking walk down the hallways with my blouse off and a fat dip in and walk back captain, and nobody would say a fucking word.
So, what'd you guys think when I showed up? When you're like, fuck, we're getting this new fucking dude.
Well, Gagnon.
Dustin knew you, too.
Yeah, Gagnon vouched for you.
Oh, okay. I knew.
Dustin knew you, too.
Yeah, I knew him from. Well, I mean, I knew him.
Yeah, he said you were super chill.
He was my schoolhouse instructor. He was for MOS school. I remember when he was Sergeant Reel. And then I was there when he got promoted to Staff Sergeant Reel. Yeah. And then, for MOS school, so it was pretty funny taking over for him.
I'm not gonna lie to you. I thought you were cool, but like I liked it when you gave us that speech because you like I'm gonna piss people off here, but you brought it up in one of the podcasts. Like I kind of noticed that this is like I don't know. I kind of noticed Anglico, the people I was working around. There was a lot like when you were saying like. Yeah, I could do that, but I'm gonna let Johnny get on the hook. It's like, bitch, you don't know what the fuck you're doing. I started seeing that in some people. It was like people were like talking, and it was like, do you really know, or are you just trying to act cool? So you like lit a fire under us. You're like, hey man, like some of you aren't where you're supposed to be. Like I know FOs and 10th Marines who will fucking smoke you, and I'm like, you know what? He's fucking not. I don't. You weren't talking to someone specifically, but I was like, he's fucking right, man. Because the problem is, and I had to tell Delta about this. Like, we had a thing where like it was like training after Idaho. We were doing like backyard ops, and like we just could never fucking leave on time because the radios were something wrong. That you're trying to coordinate teams. And I remember like people were like, "Oh, we did so great in Idaho. We did so great in Idaho." And I was like, guys, stop talking about shit that happened in the past. Like, who fucking cares about that? We need to talk about now and what we're doing and how to get better. You know what I'm saying? So it was like, stop, like, what the fuck is it? Resting on your morals? What is that term?
Resting on your laurels.
Yeah. That's what I meant. It's like, yeah, we did so good. Okay, yeah, but that shit's over with. Like, we need to focus on the now,
Yeah. Yeah. It's
rant over.
Honestly, it kind of sucks coming in as someone, as a chief, as a team chief, and because saying you guys suck would be saying that Staff Sergeant Real wasn't doing what he was supposed to be doing, and I don't think that's the case.
It
I
wasn't
think,
that. It was.
I think it's on the
people,
again. I think it's on individuals caring and stuff like that.
That's what it was. That's what it was. It was some people who were just like, "Oh, I'm just a body," or "Oh, no, I just do comm." It's
but it sucks coming in.
You're doing a lot.
It sucks coming into a unit because you have one way of doing something or you have a way of doing it, and then they are already set in a way. And for me to come in and start changing stuff, I don't feel like I really changed a lot. We didn't really have much time, before we deployed anyway. I don't know. Yeah, it was weird. It's always weird, especially coming to ANGLICO. I had just come off the advisor team where I was in charge of nobody, but myself. And before that, I was a fires chief with 3-6, but I mean, even that, it was like me and 2 dudes, so it wasn't even that big of a deal for a while because all my actual guys were out at the companies and shit, so I never really had it in charge of them. So coming to ANGLICO and being back in charge of people, I was like, fuck, I can't fuck this up,
I mean, what I'm getting at is you would see it everywhere. Like every time we did TACP shoots, you would see the guys who were always doing the controls, and you'd see guys who were just trying hiding by the Humvees and shit. It's like you don't know what the fuck you're doing.
That's the gray man. That's the gray man. Every unit has.
And then you have everybody. And then you had the guy who was just fixing everybody's fucking comm.
Yeah. Right. Not mine. I always try to make sure, and I think that was part of being at 10th Marines was taught me to fix radios. You have to know how to work the radios and stuff like that. So I always was like, when someone would be like, "Hey, Staff Sergeant, you need help with your radio," I'd be like, "Get the fuck away from me! What are you talking about? I don't want you to fix my fucking radio.
I know what you're gonna do. You're gonna turn it to lapel mic. That's the oldest trick in the book, bitch.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about, Flores.
Yeah.
What kind of headsets did you guys like? Did you guys ever use headsets?
Britney Spears one.
The Britney Spears mic?
That was a solid one for sure.
It was the one that I don't know, man.
What kind of mic was it? What do you mean, Britney? The little one that comes over your mouth a little bit?
Yeah, so it had a little
it was behind your head.
Yeah, it had a little earpiece this, I don't know, $1, and it would go on your ear, and it had a little thin. It was like a, I don't know, it was very small footprint.
It worked on every radio.
Yeah, it did. But it was all about setup. So I for some reason the cop mic. It's made by Thales. It comes with the 148s SL3, but I noticed that on 152s a lot of times it was very mute, but if you plugged it into a Fox, it was very loud. So,
well, I think there was actually different headsets for the there was different cop mics for the 152. I think there was a difference between the 148 and the 152 one.
Yeah, well, I just remember my loadout. I was telling Flores about this the other day actually. My loadout on my second Afghan tour was I'd have a 152 on me with a headset, the Britney Spears one. That was my Air, and then I would have a cop mic clipped to my pack. And I actually liked carrying a Fox because that's my favorite radio. Whatever.
A Fox, fuck that.
Yeah, because I let CSON and my JTAC carry the Golf because I'm a good radio operator.
Because you're not carrying the saw now. That's why.
Oh my!
Is there a difference? What do you think it's harder to use? The Fox or the Golf? Is one harder than the other to use?
No.
In your opinion?
What do you mean harder to use?
No. I mean, if you should know what you're doing. I don't know. I just always liked the Fox. It was my radio, And like I said, I let CSON carry the Golf. Not that I didn't carry the Golf, but
everything's the same, right? Everything between them is the same except for the radio, or except for the battery.
The Golf's way more capable.
You could do networking and stuff with
you could basically do what we're doing right now.
Yeah.
Essentially.
That's one thing we never really got into. I knew that was a capability of it, building networks and doing stuff.
I did. I had all of our guys doing that.
Well, I mean, I'm just saying, it depends. On my second Afghan tour.
IW.
Yeah.
No, not IW. It was
ANW.
That's integrate. Yeah, ANW.
Yeah, we were just talking to ourselves though. But no one else in the MU was fucking doing it. Oh, I guess Recon was doing it, right?
Yeah.
They're the ones are they the ones that worked with you?
That's what I'm saying. It's mission dependent. So on my second Afghan and my first Afghan tour, we didn't even have Gauss in my first one. We just needed SATCOM, voice HF, or voice AM, FM, and then we did HPW, so the digital messaging. That's really it. We didn't need to do like ANW2.
The Britney Spears mic, it was only one radio, right?
It was one earpiece. The other one,
unless you had a splitter.
it had like a little metal thing that would like sit like that on you.
Yeah.
But I never used a Peltor. I just never had one.
Oh man, I talked the dude I ripped out with on my advisor tour. He was the JTAC. He had a Peltor, and I'm like, hey, it's a super sick Peltor. I was like, you should let me have it, man. And he's like, I can't. It's second ANGLICO's. And I'm like, tell him you lost it, blah, blah, blah. And over like 4 days of just kind of bugging him a little bit. Actually, it wasn't even that long because we ripped out with them, and they were gone within a couple of days. He was like, here, take it, man. You can use it, or you can have it. And I'm like, no way. And he gave me his fucking Peltor. And that's the same one I used when I was at ANGLICO, dude. It was way better. I tried the Liberator before, and everybody I knew that had a Liberator always had issues. And I don't know, part of it was, I remember you guys were out there that one time when they had the pocket amps or whatever hooked up to their Liberators and the radios, and it was just, there was constant issues. But I never had an issue with my Peltor. It was fucking sick. I had 2 radio channels. Like I had, when I was on my advisor team, I'd have my team net on one side and my like TAD net on the other side. And then obviously I could switch it out as I needed to. And I had, like I carry 2 152s on my plate carrier that were attached to my Peltor. And then in my assault pack, I would carry a 117 Golf and then spare batteries, fucking smoke grenades, all that shit.
Yeah.
You know,
That's what I had. I had a Golf in my pack. So I had a 152 hooked up to a cop mic, and then I had an earpiece that plugged into the cop mic.
Those were nice. Those were really nice.
That's what I had. And then that was usually on the ground commander net. Yeah. And then in my pack, I had the Golf and pre-wired. So I had both antennas on. So I had the UHF antenna, and then I had the VHF antenna screwed in. What I liked about the Golf is the SATCOM antenna was separate. The port was separate. Then on the Fox, if you remember the Fox, it was both of them was the UHF donkey dick screwed on.
Yeah.
And then you had to unscrew that, and you had to put in the SATCOM cable. So the only way around that is what Dimauro did is he had a splitter. So he screwed onto the VHF, onto the UHF SATCOM port, his splitter. He put the donkey dick on top of it, and then he ran a SATCOM cable on the side of it. Me, on the other hand, I like the ports being separated. So I had my SATCOM cable pre-wired ready to go on my pack. Then all I had to do was, and I kept in my drop pouch, I kept my little handheld SATCOM antenna. So I just pulled from my pack on my strap, I hooked it in, and I just pointed it wherever I needed to go until I got good RSSI.
Dude, I love the mini
and then
sets.
I disconnected it back again, and then I was ready to go, and I could switch. I kept the KDU extension. I just kept that in my drop pouch also.
Yeah.
It was fine.
I appreciated the fact that you guys would like try different things out to make something work. No, I think I was blessed, most of my career with really good radio operators. Like I had you guys, and then I also had a guy named Jared Jones. He was a Native American dude. We used to fucking talk shit back and forth. He'd talk about white people. We'd talk about Indians, harass each other. But he was my comm chief at 210, and he was just another, like, he got it. Like, he was super smart, and he was good at teaching it to other people and just, like, make it. And then when you guys left, and I had, everybody, basically all my comm chiefs I've had have so far been good. And it's like, they get it. It's always good to have a dude around that, like, gets it, or if they don't understand something, they seek out the information. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you told me about that guy. He sounds badass. Like you said, like after formation on Mondays, he would like lay out the OE elements, and he was all about like wire brushing the connectors and making sure everything was like clean and like there was no dirt. Yeah, that's what you got to do.
That was the first day after the field op. You'd come in, okay, like we put everything away, count for everything, put it all away in the cage, put our own shit away, and then bounce. And the next day, come back. Bounce to the armory, turn in weapons. Next day, come back. And it was, for the morning, sit down, bust out the OEs, take out the antennas, and sit there and fucking scrub the connections so that they all shine,
Dude, that's the fucking life of a radio operator. Because, like, do you know how many, and Joel can...
Well, that was the life of our scouts, too, Like, they were really, we forced them, everybody did it, including setting up OEs, too.
Like, what I'm getting at is, like, the amount of times, like, I've had people freaking out about it not working, and I've unscrewed the handset and I've just brushed the connector and it works.
Yeah.
Like something as small as that. And like, I used to joke with my JTAC in Afghanistan. Like I remember one time the radio had like 0 RSSI. So for those listening, like you set up your SATCOM, you have to point it at a certain azimuth and it It stands for receiver signal strength indicator. So it's like 0 to 100, like what your signal strength is, how many bars you get, basically. It would be at like 0. And I remember one time I grabbed the handset and it instantly went to like 100. And he's like, "What did you do?" And I'm like, "Sir, I've just absorbed so much electricity over the years that I'm just like God." And I had a stupid answer, but shit like that, man, it just works. So you turn it off and turn it back on, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know. Radios don't work in OFF mode, sir.
Joel, what was your favorite part about being a radio operator?
Being able to work with other radio operators, man. Honestly, I really enjoyed being able. I really enjoyed being able to teach everybody stuff that I learned. Yeah. That would have made my life a lot easier if I would have known it before. So I enjoyed finding out new ways to do things, and then also just finding solutions with other people. I enjoyed training all the other junior radio operators and all the other radio operators that are my peers. I enjoyed just going out and training with each other, man, making each other better, honestly. That's why I tried to run our guys through in the SALT, like all kinds of drills, having them do all kinds of shit, man. I loved it.
Do you get a similar kind of feeling about the dudes that are police officers? Like they're the same way? They want to make each other better?
That's why I'm so happy where I'm at right now, man. This is like, I'm absolutely happy, and I don't see myself going anywhere else because the mindset is the same. It's just a different avenue of a career field. You know what I mean? Everybody wants to make each other better. So if you can pick each other's brain, or I can ask questions to one of the other officers that have been around the block for a while, and they'll just sit there and they'll teach you, they'll school you up with different ways to do things or different ways to look at a situation to make your job easier the next time around. So I really do enjoy it.
How does the like the rank or whatever in the police officer like work? Because you always have like sergeants, you know, they have like the captains, they have like all the, like, how does that work?
So for us, everybody's a police officer. You just have tenure, you know what I mean? Like some dude who has been on for 30 years and some guy who has just started, you know, under a year ago. Yeah, you guys are both police officers, but you're not equals. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Kind of like that. And then you have a lateral to a police officer, which is a detective. So on the East Coast, in some departments, I know a detective is an actual rank that's above a police officer. That's not the case here. It's just kind of a lateral. All of our detectives work in the detective bureau. So it's the same pay scale as a police officer. It's just a different job. They're just investigators, you know what I mean? When it comes to what they have to do, they're not on patrol. So the next rank up above that is sergeant. So you go from police officer to sergeant, and then from there to commander, and then deputy chief, and then chief. So it's not a huge slew of ranks like we had.
Yeah.
So when are we going to see Chief Flores?
Nah, dude, no way.
Chief Flores.
Chief?
What about Detective Flores?
I still have 24 years and like 6 months to go, man.
Just chip away at it, dude.
What about Detective Flores?
Oh, I like that. I like that.
I just got to worry about learning this job first and not fucking it up, and then we'll get there. But
yeah.
I just want to be a good patrol officer. I just want to be a good line guy, man.
How long do you have to be on patrol before like you can do something like SWAT?
I think you have to be on patrol, 2 years. I think you have to be on patrol 2 years, and then you can try out. So for their tryouts, you have to do a board, you have to do an obstacle course, and then you go to the range and you do a bunch of shooting, and then you do tactics, kind of scenario-based stuff. So you're pretty much doing their like quote unquote like kind of an in-dock screener thing.
Yeah. What kind of weapons do you guys use?
I was just gonna ask that.
So we got our duty weapons, which are either 9mm or 45. That's what you carry every day. You have
your choice.
A Benelli M2 for your patrol shotgun.
Nice.
We have AR-15s.
Yeah.
But you have to get qualled on it. So like I'm not qualled on the AR-15 per my department policy, so I'm not even allowed to fucking use it.
Motherfucker.
I know. I'm back to being
shooting
the fucking
iron sights at 500 yards, man. You can't let me fucking pick this bitch up.
What do you guys? What do you guys?
I know. I was like,
you were an iron sights guy. You guys were both iron sights guys, right?
Yeah.
What do you have on them? Like EOTechs or anything?
No, you're not allowed to have it. So there's an approved department list of what you're allowed to have on it, what kind of Gucci shit. So they give it to you. It's a Colt. It's a Colt one. I think it's an M4 actually, to be honest. It's a Colt M4. I just don't think it has 3-round burst. I think it's just semi-automatic. But
no biggie.
Yeah. And it's your typical one where you have the mounted front sight post, so the A-frame front sight post.
Right.
And you can't change that. So you can change out the handguards. You can put on iron sights, backup iron sights, but you have to have a red dot. You cannot have any magnification, which I think is kind of stupid. But
I mean,
well, you got to think most of your stuff's going to be urban, right?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but I mean, I've shot close. We've done CQB with ACOGs. It worked just fine.
You
Yeah,
can just be
but
super
and
cool.
then you can reach out and touch someone. I mean, me and you were shooting up to what 650 or something like that tomorrow. And
yeah,
we were hitting motherfuckers from 650.
I can't
pushed-
imagine. I can't imagine you getting into any kind of engagements
No.
more than 100 yards though.
Absolutely not. You're absolutely right, but I want the magnification to make my
get
job
the
easier
flip
if I
up
need to.
magnifier, man, and be dual cool.
You can't do that shit. You
Go
have to have
go
full
Halo
magnification.
1. Put the pistol on him and get the headshot from the range. From the distance.
That fucking
I got to make
pistol
sure
was
I
so
jump
cool.
when I do that though. I gotta just jump around
Fuck
everywhere.
yeah.
So wait,
No, but,
so what about on your person? You guys have like OC spray and shit?
You can, yeah. I don't carry OC spray. Man. I don't
What do you have, a
fucking OC.
taser?
Yeah, I got a taser. I have 3 mags. I have my
I'll
duty
switch
weapon.
triple rifle.
I have a baton.
What's the taser like? Is it
awful.
Is it like a
Fucking
million?
awful.
Like how many volts is it and stuff?
Dude,
Enough.
I don't remember the. I think it's like a super high number of volts, but it's low amps, so it doesn't fucking kill you or stop your heart.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's like shoving a bunch of shit down you, but it's not like at a fast pace. Or
If they were like, "Hey, we're either gonna OC spray you or tase you again," which one would you take?
oh my fucking god, dude! Everybody asks me that shit all the time. And they were
Yes.
both awful. I would have rather took the OC again rather than a tase.
What?
The
I've
tase is
never
only
heard
5
anybody
seconds
say that.
long, but it's
taser-
the absolute worst 5 seconds of your life, dude. It sucks.
Really?
Oh,
Oh, and it's
Wait.
hooked into
I
you
would
too,
rather
right?
not
It's a
know
little
CD.
barb.
all right. So do you have
Yeah.
a baton?
yeah.
Oh, you
So
can fuck.
expandable ass.
Yes.
Hmm.
So you can fuck people up.
I
No.
guess.
Wait, no. Are there
We
like
don't-
courses?
we
are there
don't do
different
that
courses you
tomorrow.
can go to? No, are there courses you can go to like to
No.
advance your skills?
Well, not necessarily, man. I mean, it's all just you have your basic knowledge of stuff. So think about it kind of like McMap. You go through and you get your basic level. So the level that we learn at is like equivalent to maybe green belt.
Okay.
That's equivalent what it's to because we learn a little bit of escapes. Honestly, it's literally the same shit we did in Greenbelt McMap. How you have the escapes, you bridge,
The
you
holes
shrimp
and all
out,
that
all that
stuff.
kind of stuff. Yeah,
Right.
that's literally all it is.
Do you guys
Um,
do they promote jujitsu? Because I know a lot of like police officers do Brazilian jiu-jitsu.
They're actually starting to. I think one of the things that's coming down is so the hands-on stuff that we learn is called PPCT, which is very just elementary and it's very like arcade kind of stuff. So it's meant for the lowest denominator basically. But they're starting to implement some Gracie now. So yeah, it's going that route.
Yeah, I
What
was gonna say like they don't teach it to you once and expect you to like
Exactly.
remember it. Like you know.
It was all pretty review for me. I mean, because it's pretty much a shadow of what we learned in McMap. As corny
Right.
as that sounds, I mean, I went up to black because I didn't want to get volunteered for courses anymore. So
Yeah.
going up to black belt was
That's what I
basically
did.
just a review
my
of
God.
everything that we did.
Dude, I hated McMap with a passion, but on the Mew I got my black belt because I was like, leave me the fuck alone.
Yeah.
Did I tell you? Did I tell you I broke Soto's rib on the Mew?
Oh,
No.
really? Fuck.
we were testing out for like brown belt, and I flipped him and I cracked his rib. Wow, yeah,
Fucking Soto's still in, right?
yeah. He's in Norway, last I heard.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
I don't know what he's doing. Black Sea rotational pore.
There's a lot of guys doing that now, going to Norway and stuff.
I think he's
Yeah.
back now though. He's got to be back now.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't talked to him in forever.
But anyways, yeah. So we have the Benelli M2 man, and then we have a less lethal 40 millimeter launcher, dude. It's a 6-pack. You know
Oh, no
the
way.
6-pack rotator.
Oh,
Yeah,
really?
we fucking
Is that the
have those, dude.
M38 or no? The
M32.
I just
32.
knew it as a 6-pack, man. But yeah, it's the 40 millimeter, dude,
Dang.
and it shoots these
the
fucking.
exact same one.
Yeah,
Nice.
yeah, it's a fucking rotating. It's a
That thing's
rotator.
sick. That thing's fun.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we don't have any HE, obviously.
What do you guys carry in the
That'd be
shotgun?
Son of a bitch.
What kind of shells do you
Uh,
carry in the shotgun?
They're just buckshot.
Yeah.
It's just buckshot. They stopped using slugs. They don't use slugs anymore.
Oh
'cause
fuck, I was wrong.
it just goes through everything.
That makes
Um,
sense. Yeah.
But yeah, the less lethal is like these wooden batons that get shot out of the 40 millimeter. It's basically like a wooden plug being shot at you at a high rate of speed.
Ooh.
And it's a pretty flat trajectory too. It's not like the 203 where you had to like arc it.
Yeah.
It's a pretty flat trajectory.
What's the range on that? Like,
Uh,
what's your optimal like?
It's the same
Employment.
it's the same as a.
So it's like
Um,
maximum is like 400 yards, 400 meters, whatever.
Well,
Yeah,
you're
but
not-
you ain't shooting that shit
It's,
from that.
yeah,
far.
that's
Well,
riot,
that's
that's
the
riot
max-
control
that's
stuff.
the max effective.
Yeah, I mean, and you're talking that's HE also. You know,
Yeah.
this one's you're shooting directly at a motherfucker and hitting them with it. So
Yeah.
you're talking what, 10, 20, 30, 40 yards.
When do you
Dude, I remember-
when do you
I remember
foresee
I saw-
something like that being used?
On people who you're trying to get to comply with you, but you
dispersal.
don't necessarily want to shoot them or can shoot them yet. So
Yeah.
somebody who's not being compliant, maybe they have like a bar or they're not being compliant inside of a car or a house or something like that. You're going to shoot them with that shit through their windows, or you're going to shoot them with it to try to get them to comply with whatever they're doing.
Huh.
You ever seen like those videos, like the suicide by cop videos?
It's fucking sad, dude.
It sucks. Like they just want you to take them
Yeah.
out, but you have like no choice.
Yeah. Yeah.
What are your
Some dude starts sprinting at you with a knife. I mean, what are you going to do, you know?
Fuck that, dude.
do your SWAT
I
guys
think-
carry the same weapons?
So, yeah, the SWAT guys will carry every single weapon that we have in our arsenal. For patrol-wise, we have to be certified on these specific weapons in order to be able to use them. So right now, I only have my duty weapon. That's all I'm certified on. I'm trying to get into every weapon system that I can eventually, but
What's
I mean,
the
I'm pretty low priority.
what's the certification for a duty weapon?
You have to go through the post test, so the peace officer standardized test. It's basically just a course that you have to shoot. That is a combination of moving and shooting at different distances and doing different drills, reloads, moving, stuff like that. It's very basic, not hard.
You don't think it's that difficult?
No.
What are your opportunities for follow-on training, like shooting training? Because obviously, police shootings are a
Well-
huge deal in America right now, as always.
So when you mean follow-on trainings, you mean just like supplemental stuff or
Like more
advancement?
shooting, like because you always see these videos of like 20 cops surrounding a car and they're all firing at it, like basically firing at each other, or you
That's just
hear
people
like,
fucking lose their minds, dude.
or you hear
That's-
like 40 rounds were fired, you know, like
Yeah.
a crazy amount, but none of them hit and stuff like that.
I hit up CSON one time and I'm like, what are you guys carrying? He's like, oh, we carry Glock 17s, 9mm. And I'm like,
Yeah.
he's like, why are you asking me? I'm like, bro, because I'm watching these cop videos and motherfuckers are getting shot like 10 times before they're dropping.
Wow. So
Yeah, so I mean, we
like
can
follow on
carry
range
9
time.
or 45. Yeah, so we go, I think it's every quarter. So every 3 months we have a range day where we dedicate, I think it's like 4 or 5 hours to just doing straight drills and training and stuff like that. It's not nearly as much as we did when we were, you know, at ANGLICO. We would fucking shoot like crazy over there.
Can you
Yeah.
shoot? Can you shoot more than that if you want?
I think so, but you have to come on your own time. That's just
Yeah.
what the department will pay you for. So like me, I have a membership at a range here, and I just go and I shoot there. It's like 200 and I think it was $240 for a whole year. So it's not bad.
Do you think?
And you can,
Do you think most officers do that? Most of them shoot
yeah,
on their own
I
time.
think so. I think so. I think
Yeah.
most people do shoot on their own time, and then, you know, if a range day for training up at the police range will open up when I'm off, I think I'll sign up for it. Why not? You know what I mean? I'll go and shoot some more.
Yeah.
But
Shooting's
I
fun.
think most people, yeah, absolutely. It's just expensive as fuck, dude. Ammo's not cheap.
Do it in fucking
I
California.
did not realize how expensive. Yeah, I did not realize how expensive ammo was until I got out and I had to start buying my own. And how much we used to shoot at
Oh my
ANGLICO,
God, dude.
we would dump like 10,000 rounds. You know how much money that was, dude? Nuts.
10,000 rounds with like 20 people.
Yeah, it's nuts. We would do so much shooting.
The most I ever did was Alpha and Bravo. 2 days, we had 36,000 rounds.
Yeah.
Oh,
It was painful. It was so painful to shoot it. But on another note, can you tell us about the door?
what door?
You know,
The door
door.
I kicked.
the door that's
The
missing
door-
a panel.
Oh man, I mean, it's very melodramatic
It's just
too.
funny. You
so-
kicked the fucking door. You
Well, it's
popped your
crazy.
cherry.
It's kind of sad, honestly. You know, knowing.
It is sad.
Knowing
The
the
outcome was
story of
great.
it.
Yeah, it
Oh.
sucks.
Well, you
Yeah,
saved the
so-
guy. You saved his life. That's cool.
Maybe not. I don't know.
Is he
I
not
guess we'll
alive?
never- I would assume so. I mean, I don't have follow up on him, but I'm assuming he lived.
Oh,
I
you don't
know.
like you don't have to
You're-
you don't have to follow up for like report wise.
No, I just write what happened, and then that's the end of it.
So
Huh.
you showed up.
Especially if it's not criminal.
and you saw what?
So we just get a call, and they're asking us. It's the guy's friend, and they're saying, "Hey, can you check on my friend? I haven't heard from him for 2 days, and he's a heavy alcoholic. He drinks like a liter of vodka every day, or 2 liter of vodka every day. It's fucking crazy." So we're like, okay, we get there, and it's a fourplex. So there's residents on the top corner, right corner, both top corners and both bottom corners. And the outside of the house is one of those you have to ring the bell of the unit you're trying to get a hold of, and they have to come out and let you in, kind of thing, or buzz you in. So we're ringing this guy's bell to try to, and he's in the bottom right corner of the residence, and nobody's answering. So we're banging on the door for just any of the residents to try to come let us in. Nobody's home. The parking lot is empty that all the residents are supposed to park in, including this guy's spot. There's no inclination that anybody's there. So I get the idea. I'm like, I'm going to go check around the side and the back to see if I can get in or see anything. So as soon as I step over to the side, I notice the window to his unit. The screen is off. It's outside and his window is open. So my thought instantly is like, holy shit, are we rolling into like a burglary or something like that? It might be. So I listen. My trainer comes over to me and I tell him, I'm like, hey, listen, what's going on right here? So he comes over and he sees what I see. So we're quiet, we're listening. We hear somebody mumbling inside. So we think we just kind of stumbled upon a burglary in progress. So we draw our weapons and we're just kind of standing there and we're waiting and seeing what we can see. We notice inside is just shit all over the place in this guy's room. The window that we're looking in is to the guy's bedroom. It's like a little 1-bedroom, 1-bath kind of unit. Shit is ransacked. It looked like it could have been burglarized. I mean, I've seen people live like that also. So it could have been that he's just a nasty fucking person. But just given the circumstances at the time, my inclination is like, this could possibly be something else. So this guy, he's talking. We don't know what he's saying. It's not making any sense. So then I go and I'm like trying to make absolute certain that this is the unit that we're trying to get a hold of. So I go and I ring the bell. He's trying to listen to see if the bell even works. We're not hearing anything. So we're like, okay, maybe the doorbell's just broken. All of a sudden, and then the whole time we're standing at the window, we hear this alarm going off. It's a solid tone alarm. So we're like, maybe he has a security alarm system, and that's what's going off for this window. We don't know what this alarm could be. So we start calling out into the room, calling people out. The person who we're looking for, his name was, just for random shits and giggles, it was like John. So we're trying to call John. Like, John, are you there? John, can you hear us? And this guy, he says his name was something else, like George or some shit like that. So we're trying to talk to this guy, and we're like, come to the window. We're trying to bring him to us. We're not trying to go in. It's too dangerous. It's like not worth it, you know what I mean? Especially just for property. But we're also trying to just make sure that this person, if somebody did break in, didn't hurt the person we're looking for also. Yeah. So we're trying to look in. We can't see anything. We're trying to talk to the person on the other end. He's talking incoherently. He's mumbling, not making any sense at all. He sounds like a crazy person, to be completely honest. So we're trying to look around. My trainer goes on to the other side of the window, and he sees a foot that's kind of like, the heel is on the floor, the toes are pointed straight up, and the feet look fucking disgusting, like they're rotting off. Oh. So this person is clearly, by the way the foot is angled, is laying on their back. Just by how your feet are when you lay on your back, it's kind of like pointed up like this. That's what he sees, and he's like, hey, he's on the ground. And we ask him, hey, can you walk? Do you need help? And he's not making more sense. So we make the determination there. You have to be very careful about what you're doing to go and entering in people's houses and places like that without permission. You're violating the Fourth Amendment. Yeah. So there's certain circumstances you can violate the Fourth Amendment, and one of those is an exigency to provide medical care for somebody or to save somebody's life. Yeah. And this is what we determined we needed to do. So we went to the front. I banged on the door a couple more times. Nobody's answering. So my trainer just looks at me. He's like, boot it. So I fucking boot the door, and my foot goes through the fucking door.
Dimauro's all like, yeah.
And I sort of step through, and I almost fall into the door because my foot just went right through the goddamn door where the panel is supposed to be. So I pull my foot out. I look inside, and I see a fucking staircase going up and a staircase going down, and then this is where the door would open at. So I'm looking inside and making sure there's like nobody waiting there for us. And then they kind of look at me, and they told me later on, they're like, we thought you were going to try to kick it again instead of just opening it from the inside, but I didn't kick it again. I fucking reached in like a smart individual. I just unlocked it and I fucking opened the door. And then we went down to where this guy lives. I tried the door again. It didn't open. So I backed up. My trainer boots that door open, breaks the whole fucking door frame open. We go inside.
Let me show you how it's done.
Yeah, we have our gun. So we're going out.
I said, let me show you how it's done.
Oh, let me see. Yeah, right. So, no, I mean, that door, I was set up for failure with that one, man. The door panel, it was all fucking, it was all paneled, and I was like, I kicked the fucking panel, and my foot went right through the goddamn door. But, so we go in, we clear this house. We see this guy laying Pooh Bear style. So by Pooh Bear, what I mean is only underwear and a shirt, no fucking pants, like Winnie the Pooh.
Fuck.
All he's laying there is just he's in whitey tighties. These fucking underwear are stained and fucking gross, dude. His legs have these wounds all over his legs. They're like open sore wounds, and his feet look like they're gonna fucking fall off, and they're like rolled up skin, and it looks like your feet after like a 20-mile fucking hike, dude. It's fucking gross.
That's fucking nasty, dude.
Yeah, his toes are all like black and shit, and they're fucking gross. And he's shaking. He's sitting there on the ground shaking with his hands up. His eyes are yellow. His skin is starting to turn yellow. So he looks like he has jaundice or like liver failure of some sort, which, somebody drinking like that.
Probably.
Yeah, it makes sense. So we put our guns away after we find out that it's cleared. Nobody's in there hurting him. He just needs medical help. So we call an ambulance to come to the house. And I'm still trying to figure out what that alarm is. So I tell him, I'm like, hey, I'm going to go try to hunt down where this sound is coming from. I get to his front living room, and it's coming from the outlet. Well, what's plugged into the outlet is a carbon monoxide alarm. That alarm is steadily going off. I'm like, fuck, man, it's the carbon monoxide alarm. So I go back and I tell him, I was like, hey, we got to get out of here. The carbon monoxide alarm's going. We need to just get out of the fucking apartment. So we have to pick this motherfucker up. We're dragging him out. Like, you know how like you have to do it for the CFT when you're fucking grabbing him from behind?
Yeah.
So I'm fucking grabbing him, and we're like dragging him out like that. We drag him out into the fucking hallway to the bottom of the stairs. And one of our supervisors shows up on scene at that time, and she tells us, hey, we need to get him outside for the ambulance. We need to drag him up these stairs because he's on the bottom level. So try to pick him up. So I'm like, all right, he's the whole time he's like shaking and he's still mumbling and we're like not what the fuck he's saying. And I'm trying to calm him down. I'm telling him, I was like, hey, you're not in trouble. We're here just to make sure you're safe and you're okay. We're going to get you some medical help. Yeah. You're not in trouble. Don't think you're in trouble, okay? He's like trying to fight us taking him. He's like trying to hold on to the rail and like all kinds of stuff. I was like, look, man, we're just carrying you upstairs for the ambulance. We're not taking you anywhere. Like, let go of the fucking rail. Stop fighting us. Just, we need you to drop down and help us. Use your legs if you can. And he's like dead weight, complete dead weight. 200-something pounds this dude weighs, man. He's fucking heavy.
Jeez.
So I have to grab like one of his fucking legs. And I'm like trying to avoid it. I'm trying not to get it on because it's disgusting as fuck, dude. We're not able to like fit next to each other side by side to walk this guy up. So we have to like just pass him up the stairs, kind of like you would like a resupply on ship. You're just like passing the fucking box. That's like we're trying to just like hand him up, stuff like that.
That's funny.
The trainer that I had at the time, he's like a really big dude, man. He's like he played football at like college and all that shit. His lineman. So he's like a bigger dude. He grabs this motherfucker. He just like lifts him up and he just like starts dragging him up the stairs. This guy's fucking underwear is like falling off. We're like trying to keep his underwear on, like all kinds of shit.
Just another day on the job.
Oh man, yeah. So we pull him up and we get him outside. And the ambulance comes, and then they start like helping him and stuff, and then have to start like taking pictures of all the damage and stuff like that. But, yeah, so it was pretty sad. I mean, they ended up in the ambulance and all that, but
does the department pay for that?
I think that the owner of the building can request reimbursement, but I think there's a process for that.
Yeah, I'm sure there is.
I'm honestly not too sure. I would assume that there's something to help with it if it's not criminal.
Yeah.
So like if we damage property in the event of a crime, then no, because why would we reimburse somebody like that? You know what I mean? When we're trying to get to them and they're not complying with lawful orders, stuff like that. But if it's not, I mean, I wouldn't see why if we're trying to provide aid to somebody. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's no different than firemen going in and booting it down.
Yeah.
So,
Right.
All right, gents, I'm going to wrap this up. We're at just over 2 hours, a little over almost 2 hours and 20 minutes, depending on where I cut this at. So I got to upload it. It'll take me 18 hours to upload with my slow-ass internet. Now that I know I should be using the 5G network, though, I'll be – maybe we'll – go quicker. Do you guys want any last things before we cut it off? You guys want to throw out your social media? You can if you want, or promote your individual whatever.
Just get Tracy back on here as soon as possible.
He was supposed to be here when I had Farrell, but he had some stuff he had to do with his wife, so I'll give him shit about it on the next episode.
No, I love having him on. He's good people.
He's a fan favorite. A lot of people hit me up about it. If you look, there's a lot of comments on the Apple podcast reviews where people are like, "Oh, Tracy, good people." Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, Joel. Anything from you?
Oh man, you got to get that beard dyed. Get some just for men.
Oh yeah. So no, I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna shave it at some point, probably this summer. But I was at dinner the other night. Farrell's parents are in town, and his wife works at this really nice restaurant in Cardiff. So we go there to eat, and she's like, "Oh, I want to introduce you to someone. You guys look exactly the same." Like this whole table, we're all sitting here at this big table, and she brings over this other like server dude. Like, he looks exactly like you, and I'm like, okay, like whatever. Like one, I don't like don't put the attention on me. And then she's like, he could be your son. And I'm like, how old are you, dude? And he's like 35. I'm like, we're the fucking same age, man. I'm like, get the fuck out of here.
Oh, shit.
I started getting gray hair when I was in high school. I'm not that old. Damn.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Oh, well. But it is what it is. But, hey, thanks for coming on. I'm glad this works. Well, I'm assuming it works. I haven't stopped to edit it yet. So we might have a video tomorrow. And if not, this is the first time I've used this program for a three-way conversation. I think it does work. If there's no issues with this one, then I'm going to have Quentin Brown come back on. And
yes, I loved it. His episode was great.
Yeah, he's going to come on. And then who else was it? Levi. Yeah, him and Levi are going to come on together. So that should be a cool one. But
dude,
anyway.
Quentin's one of my favorite episodes.
Yeah, I've had a few people say that actually.
Dude, he's fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
I loved it.
It was surprising at the end when he was talking about that dude showing him a swastika and stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Nuts, right?
It's crazy, right? Did you guys ever see anything like that while you were in?
Oh, man, I want to say I was surprised when he said
that dude, that Harper guy, I was cracking up when you were talking about that guy.
Who?
Oh, my God. The EKMS manager.
Oh.
Fucking idiot from...
I was cracking up.
That's true.
I can't believe when I ended up seeing that. I was like, this guy was the biggest fucking goober when he was in. I remember him. Nobody listened to him. Nobody had respect for him.
You're talking about
Everybody was just
so
like,
people knows what we're talking about. We're talking about Harper, the dude they got.
Yes.
He was one of the fucking Charlottesville rally dudes.
He came out. He was like one of the leaders. They named him or dubbed him one of the leaders. I was like, leader of what? Fucking
that's your
Dungeons
leader?
and Dragons?
You guys are
Like, what the
fucked.
hell? Yeah, stupid, man.
Yeah, he fucking locked himself out of the cage, and they had to like cut the wall open and get in there. Or something.
Idiot.
He's a
That's
fucking
such an
moron.
idiot.
All right.
He got
That was a
those.
Nazi leader.
He got
God
those.
damn.
He didn't get those lightning bolts. To spin the combination. Remember those things?
Yeah. Oh well. All right, guys. Well,
All right, man.
hey, have a good one.
Yeah.
Joel, tell your family I said what's up.
Yeah, definitely.
Andrew,
Hey, your bunny said
take it
what's
easy.
up.
Yeah, you still got your bunny?
Oh yeah, she's around.
She's around here somewhere.
You got a fucking
Let me
rabbit.
see
as
the
a pet,
rabbit
dude.
real
No,
quick.
we're doing this before we end it.
I had
New
a
England
neighbor when I
rabbit.
lived up in Oceanside. Down the street, they had one, but they kept it outside.
You got a rabbit. That's crazy.
You have a rabbit.
It's disgusting.
No, she's awesome.
Fucking rabbit, dude.
They
Does it stink?
they're clean animals. They groom
Are they?
themselves. They groom themselves more than cats.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Well, that's debatable. All right, guys. I'm going to cut it off here. You guys have a good one.
Cool. Later.
Later.
All right, later.